The Village of Franklin's regular council meeting for Monday, October 13th, 2025. Can we please do the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Evan, if you could do roll call, please.
President David Goldberg.
Here.
Trustee Pam Hansen.
Here.
Trustee Daniel Ferris.
Here.
Trustee Abigail Gates.
Here.
Trustee Mike Seltzer.
Here.
Trustee Angelina Salaka.
Here.
Trustee David Solid.
Here.
Excellent. Next item is adoption of the agenda. After some communications with the Infrastructure Committee, they, as you can see, we have a little bit of some pictures in front of us. So they would like to continue the discussion on road crossings and relocations within the village. So we're gonna add that as, actually,
You don't have to edit.
yeah, I mean, it's actually old business. But we'll add it at the end of new business since we're adding it to the end. We'll put it in as item 10F.
Thank you for that.
Yep,
Under new business?
under, yeah, we'll just do under new business. Let's knock these other things off first. So can I get a motion to adopt the agenda as modified?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Seltzer, second by Hanson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have minutes from two different meetings. The first is from our regular council meeting of September 8th.
Motion to approve.
Packet.
I have a. Should we do a second and then discuss?
Yeah, of course. We have a motion by Seltzer, second by Solaka. Discussion?
Yeah, on page 7, 9/6/2025, is that supposed to be the date? Because I think the meeting was on the 23rd. And then if you go to the back page, it's like 9/4/2025, under new business. So that was kind of throwing me off. Do you see the,
I do. I don't recall.
I don't think it's a date, because sequentially it goes,
I know.
I don't think it's a date either. Evan, do you know? So in the minutes, on the motions, it looks like,
I
is
think
it
he's
all of them?
numbering the motions. but-
So is that what that is? So 2009 means it's the September 25 and motion number 2, motion number 1. Yeah, that's what it is, Angelina.
Okay, that's what I thought. It was
Yeah,
just,
it's the year, the month of the meeting, and the number motion, so that we could always go back and reference the motion by a number. So, is that new?
Fairly new.
Yeah, good, thanks. That works.
okay.
That's what that looks like.
And then, this is the regular council meeting of September 8th, right?
Correct.
Okay. Page 4. Mike, were you here at that meeting? September 8th?
No, I was not here.
Okay, it says motion by Seltzer.
You know, I had saw that earlier. I thought we had already fixed that. That needs to be
But
fixed.
I don't know who made the
No, they're just so
motion.
used to it. you know.
I did.
Okay, I wasn't sure, so I figured.
I saw your note.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I had left him a note on a couple of these items when I read it before legal
Okay.
committee. And that's definitely one to go back and see. Pam thinks she made it, just for the
I'm
record.
fine with that. I just didn't.
No,
go
you're
back.
absolutely right. That was a good catch.
Okay, and then, I think trustee Gates asked about the deer in the police report, not me. Abby, that was you, right? Okay, under, page 3, Roman numeral number 7, under Kurt Lawson submitted report, and says Salaka asked, I think it was Gates.
Okay. That it, Angelina?
Yeah, that's it, sorry.
Anybody else have discussion or comments? Mike, are you okay amending your motion with the change?
Yeah, I'll motion with the corrections indicated.
Yeah, I'll continue the second.
So we have a motion by Seltzer, second by Hanson, to approve the September 8th, 2025, regular meeting minutes as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, very good. Second is our special meeting of the 23rd.
Motion to approve.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion by Seltzer, second by Hanson. Discussion? I didn't have any on this.
Yeah, that one was short.
I didn't see anything. Anyone else? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, public requests and comments. Got a good number of people here today, so we'll hold comments to a 3-minute maximum. Anybody? Mr. Blanton? Oh, hold on, all right, you got Trump. She made the quick move, nice move.
Okay, hi everyone.
Hi there.
I'm Denise Jacob.
Oh,
I
hi,
live
Denise.
on Irving.
Yep.
And I'm here today because I would like to organize a Franklin Spring Cleanup Day. And I talked to one of the trustees and they said I should bring it to the meeting. I've noticed every spring that there's a great deal of trash in between the road and people's yards. And yeah, this year I went around with my little grabber thing and some bags, and there's only so much that I could do, but I think it would be really fun if we advertised it. We picked a day. I'm suggesting April 25th. Happy to put together a committee. I've already talked to folks who are excited about this. Maybe we start with some donuts and coffee in the parking lot and then just get everybody going. I think it would be really fun, and it's something I propose that we do every year. And spring is a great time because people just haven't walked their perimeter since the winter and don't even realize what's out there. So I think we can use all our available mechanisms for marketing it with the FCA emails and the library and so on. And I have all my comments and my address and everything here if you'd like me to submit that. So what would be the process from this?
So, yeah, it was you and I who communicated.
Yes,
And it's not until April, so every council meeting, there's this forum. Getting it to Evan, our clerk, to get on the website and for him to include in his weekly newsletter, once you have a date established.
Okay.
And, I mean, those are definitely the forums that the village can make available
Great.
to get the
You
word
guys
out.
have to vote on it?
Do we have to vote on it?
No.
Okay, so I
No,
can,
if it's just a resident, I
I
mean,
can start
unless you're
planning.
asking for the village for money to do any
Yeah.
part of it, if it's just helping organize, no,
Okay.
absolutely.
I think it's a nice idea.
Wonderful
How many
idea.
people do you
yeah.
have? That,
I'm s-
how
oh.
many people do you have on the committee?
Right now, I've had 2 people who have said, oh yeah, I'd love to, but I haven't been really talking to
Yeah.
people.
It's a
Hi,
good
I'm
idea.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, I know that the FCA does a spring cleanup of their grounds.
Yes.
Is there have you spoken with Kathy Ehrlich? Is there an opportunity for you guys to
Kathy's the one who
collect-
told me to come here.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Otherwise, we'll have a
But
really
I
tiny
will,
village.
I will talk to her
Yeah.
and see if she wants to
Okay.
coordinate. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Just
All right.
what did you fill out in advance?
Good evening. Bruce Blanton, 27175 Garden Way.
Hi, Bruce.
This is not meant to be deja vu all over again. I've been at several meetings, some other people have, to discuss the deer call issue. I know that President Goldberg has been in contact with Brian Farmer from Farmington Hills. I've seen some emails that were circulated and have come to me, and I want to give you some props and kudos for moving this forward. And from what I understand, the deer call issue will be part of your agenda for the November meeting, and I think that's appropriate, and I really appreciate your taking this and moving the ball down the field so we can have some public discussion and education on the issue. This is not going to go away, it's only going to get worse. Thank you.
Just, yeah, I'll update, I was planning on updating it.
I know you do, I just wanted to come down and say thank you.
I
You know, I appreciate your efforts and your attention.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Margaret Bancroft, and I live on Wellington. And I wanted to thank the council and you, David Goldberg, for your careful consideration of the deer management concerns of the residents. And I would like to make a request that Franklin Council establish a committee of residents that would also include a member or 2 from the council to work together to coordinate deer management efforts with the DNR. I would be pleased to serve on that committee, along with others of us who have brought this effort to the attention of the council. I feel that we need to have at least one member of the council, or maybe two. This would take a lot of the work off of council, because we could communicate with the DNR and other communities as to the procedure and methods. We could be called the Franklin Wildlife Management Committee. We could receive input in collaboration with the efforts of the other surrounding communities. And this would take much of the work off of the council members, as stated. And the committee could actively seek and receive input from residents and others with concern regarding the wildlife in Franklin. We could work collaboratively with individuals of all points of view regarding wildlife in Franklin. We work collaboratively with wildlife commissions or similar organizations in nearby communities regarding wildlife, and work with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and other county, state, or federal entities responsible for wildlife management in regard to wildlife. Franklin Village is already a member of the Southeast Urban Deer Coalition. Brian Farmer, with the DNR, suggested that we request to have a resident member of this newly formed Franklin Village Wildlife Committee be appointed by council to represent Franklin Village on the Southeast Urban Coalition. Thank you.
As I said, I'll update everyone in a minute.
And I'm not going to repeat everything that she said, but I really am grateful to you, President Goldberg, and Pam, for taking this issue on. I know that, David, you've talked to Brian quite a bit. I'm really concerned. I live at 27355 Wellington. I have 7 beautiful Bambi deers in my backyard. I love them all, except I have been challenged 3 times by does and even by a 6-point buck in my backyard. So this has become a major concern for me because it's terrifying. I don't even want my grandkids going out playing in the backyard because they become aggressive. I've been in conversation with Brian Farmer for the last 2 months, and for the small group of us that have been talking about this, I've kind of been his point person. So a lot of the information that he's given, he's sent it through me. He did suggest that we develop the Franklin Village Wildlife Committee, not a commission, so we don't have to have bylaws and all that kind of stuff. It would just be a group of residents and council trustees that would get together and actually, Brian suggested that we maybe follow Southfield's Wildlife Commission format, the way that they put theirs together. And we've already talked to Mayor Kinsiver and Brian, and they generously offered to help us if we wanted to set something like that up. The Franklin Village Wildlife Committee, as Margaret mentioned, would assist the council in educating our residents, holding forums, educational opportunities, and hopefully bringing in speakers not only from DNR and from our surrounding communities, but also a representative from the food banks, because I think it's really important for people to understand that this is going to benefit our community as a whole, because the food banks are saying people call and ask, when is the venison going to be available? The other suggestion that he made was that he would, should we decide to participate in future cullings, he would bring together not only the DNR, but some U of M master students to work with us to put a specific plan for the DNR for Franklin Village, because we would have to have our own plan, even though we would be participating with Southfield and Farmington Hills and Farmington and the other communities that are now beginning to speak up and say, yeah, they want to be a part of this for 2027, because 2026 is already done. And just this week, Brian texted me or to ask me to circulate a property volunteer form. And I sent it to you, David, and also to Pam. You may have seen it by email. And it was put together by the Farmington Hills Wildlife Committee. And it was developed to glean interest from residents who were interested in using their property for any potential future cullings. And I shared that form with the people that we've been involved with, the small little committee here, and we've shared it with other residents, other neighbors that are also interested in possibly using their property as well.
Thank you. So you have more that, your 3 minutes are up, but if you could, please share that information with me. A lot of what you're talking about is already in motion that I'll share with everybody
Yeah.
in a minute. So I
Okay, that's
appreciate
true.
your comments.
And all the feedback that Brian is getting from this particular residence form, he'll make that available to us as well. So again, thank you so much for taking this seriously.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm William Elders. I still live on Apple Tree Lane. We've spoken several times in the past, and tonight I have just a few remarks regarding the deer call subject matter, and I can assure you my comments will be very brief. First, Mr. Goldberg, I want to thank you and your council members for complying with our request to hold our deer call plea to your list of agenda issues coming up in November of this year. Acknowledging our request manifests your sincere concern has been given to the subject, and we appreciate your prompt response to resolve our excessive deer population issue. I would also like to place a ditto mark and endorse the remarks made by Mr. Blanton, Mrs. Bancroft, and Mrs. Graham. In closing, I've learned from some research that DNR has compiled regarding the deer population matter, and it is truly, truly astounding. According to their research, the village of Franklin possesses 2.7 square miles. The ecosystem that they have in their possession reveals the village can accommodate 10 to 15 deer for each square mile, and it can accommodate 30 to 45 deer for each 3 square mile area. Unfortunately, the DNR map information estimates there are approximately 300 deer making their home in the village of Franklin. Needless to say, this is excessive. If we do the math and choose to do nothing about the allegations that are being made regarding safety, health, and property damage, the problem will only become more cumbersome. Thank you once again, Mr. President, for your leadership and your prompt attention to this matter. It is deeply appreciated.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Natalia Shoup. I'm here to address the Michigan Department of State Bureau of Election recent determination in Shoup versus Seltzer campaign finance complaint. In its September 23, 2025 determination letter, the Bureau found reason to believe that multiple violations of the Michigan Campaign Finance Act occurred in connection with Mr. Seltzer's campaign. The Bureau explicitly stated that if these violations are not resolved informally, the matter will be referred to Attorney General for possible prosecution and penalties. Despite this, in August, Mr. Seltzer misled the council and especially Trustee Hansen by falsely claiming that the case had been closed. This official state makes clear that the case still remains open and unresolved. For the sake of transparency, this document should be shared publicly so that the residents understand the seriousness of these findings. I have copies available for anyone who wishes to review it, or it can be requested through a FOIA submission to the village. The Bureau also confirmed that Mr. Seltzer no longer resides at his previously listed Franklin address, 27160 Scenic Drive, and failed to update his campaign filings as required by law. Furthermore, his alleged new lease contains unlawfully redacted address information, an expiration term that appears to be months to months, and redacted monthly payments information, which could be potentially zero or below market value. Also, zero security deposit with all utilities, maintenance, and repairs included in that lease. All this represents potential undisclosed financial benefits and a possible illegal gift from a landlord who is a Franklin resident and owns several Franklin properties used for short-term leases. Residents have a right to know whether a sitting trustee actually resides in the village and is a registered voter at the same address listed in the alleged lease agreement since July 30, 2025, as both the charter and constitution require. Beyond these violations, there are serious ethical concerns. For too long, Mr. Seltzer has used his position to manipulate, intimidate, and mislead colleagues, residents, and even county and state authorities. As I told Mr. Seltzer last year, and I will repeat now, it's time for you to resign. After sitting on the council for so many years, the line between right and wrong, between legal and illegal, no longer exists for you. sorry, and I want to add, this comes from a family that once supported and defended Trustee Seltzer and did not believe others when they reported similar treatments. I respectfully ask this council to finally address all of these ethical and campaign finance violations, verify whether Mr. Seltzer is in fact a resident and qualified voter of the village, and determine the address that the list says, and determine whether he remains eligible to serve under the charter. It is also time for the council to consider amending the charter to include term limits, as Mr. Seltzer's conduct clearly demonstrate the consequences of one person remaining in the power for too long. I also would like lastly add, in June 2024, Mr. Seltzer ambushed my family in our backyard, demanded that I remove a post I had posted on Nextdoor regarding certain council members' misconduct. And when I calmly said no, because it's true, he turned to my husband and said, order your wife to remove the post. My husband said no, there were other things he said, but he said, you're in front of my kids. Your family is better and should move out of Franklin. That was only a fragment of what he said that day, as such a conduct is unacceptable for anyone, especially an elected official. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Welcome, council members. I would like to say that that last comment was derogatory towards a person that's been on this council and many boards for many, many years. This has all been cleared by our legal firm, and we need to shut this down and move on with council issues like that you have been doing with hiring. I just don't think that it builds good rapport within the village because of false accusations. Mark Ziso, 32695 Redfern.
Thanks, Mark. Hi, John.
Hi, I'm John Simon of 30320 Kincardine. Trustee Sulaka, when I spoke at last council meeting and explained that Meg Schubert's letter of resignation accused the trustee of overstepping her job description, I never once mentioned your name, nor did Meg. Yet your defensive response directed at me was an implied acknowledgement that it was you who Meg was referencing. You went on to say that Meg's letter was a smoke and mirrors misrepresentation and that Meg was actually a good friend. In fact, Meg's letter states quite the opposite. For Trustee Sulaka and Meg to have such totally different interpretations of their relationship, it can only be explained by Meg's effort and determination to make the best of a bad and compromising situation. When a new administrator is coming on board, the council must assure that person that no individual trustee will be allowed to interfere or direct this administrator or her staff. If we are to avoid a repeat of the crisis we have just overcome, the new administrator must be willing to immediately report any such transgression to the council president. Trustee Sulaka, your energy and passion are obvious, and we all hope that you have only the village's best interests at heart. However, due to a number of letters from various village organizations that have voiced serious complaints about you, it should become apparent that your impact can turn out to be quite different from your good intentions when people feel disrespected and unappreciated. So please consider the possibility of your ways not always being the best, and know that respect and compromise go a long way to building bridges and gaining support. Thank you.
Hi, Cindy Sherburne, 30950 Woodside Drive. I'm sorry I'm not seeing so well today because I had to have a retina exam. That's always exciting. It lets you see life in an entirely different way with lots of bright spots. Okay, I want to start with what Mr. Simon spoke about with the prior manager letter. This is what I have to say to anybody on this council or any other council. I spent many years advising judges on a court and their administrators how to deal with things. This is what I have to say. You can be best friends with whomever. That's fine. But your role as a council member requires you to treat that person in their particular role with the council, with things that are going on. Friendship doesn't matter. You can be friends, you can go to lunch with people. You've got to maintain the proper boundaries between your job and their job when you're doing those positions. I think that that's the source. You could probably be best friends with her. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Are you doing your proper job with the council? That's a question in these things. So that is something I think needs to be kept in mind when you're doing these things. You have to do your job as a council member. Okay, I have noticed you picking up your cell phone. I hope you don't have it today, because I've got something to say about cell phones and council members. You're here as village council members, trustees, with a fiduciary duty and a duty of care to those of us who are the villagers. That's your duty. Your duty is to sit and listen to us while you have these council meetings. It's not to take calls from your children. It's not to do any of that. You need to do your job as a council member. I am asking that you do that and you not have your cell phones out during these matters when we are going ahead with these meetings. You've got to listen to your villagers. It sends a really strong message when you don't. Okay, now, Mr. Solly, you talked about constitutional issues and blah, 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 Constitution. Did you do an analysis of that was written out somewhere? You talked about the Constitution and not being able to step down from the position because of the Constitution. Were you just throwing out words, or did you do an analysis?
This isn't a question and answer period, so trust
I'm
Solly,
asking him to think about that because he made statements about the Constitution and what it said in his statements. And I have this to say, the Constitution contains a lot of limitations on who can serve in certain roles. There are ordinances that may contain other limitations. We have nepotism rules, for example, about administration and council. We also have, in other areas of this state, there are also charter provisions that don't allow, say, spouses or people related to the second degree to serve together on a council. There's kind of,
3 minutes, if you could round it up, please.
I'm getting there. I'm really
I'm getting
close.
there. You need to round it up.
Oh, no, I'm definitely getting there. The problem we have with this whole thing is we start having a concentration of power. We have something like, what, 1,200 houses here? 2 of 7 being in one house is kind of a major thing. That takes a lot of power from other people. I want you to consider that as you look at this. And there are provisions elsewhere in the state of Michigan that require marital relationships to be.
All right, thank you for your comments.
Okay, that's all I had anyway.
Anybody else? All right, I will close public comments and open reports of village officers and agents. Chief Lawson, start with the police report.
Yes, in front of you, you have the monthly report for September. And as you can see, we remained active in both communities throughout September, specifically engaged in community engagement. We had the Labor Day Roundup. We did 2 separate mobile walk presentations, one on gun safety in Bingham Farms, and then we teamed up with the library and did a cybersecurity, which was very well attended here at the library. And we also had many officers, including our sergeant out there, who ran the torch run for Special Olympics. So I applaud for that. I want to talk a little bit about staffing updates. We did have an officer resign in July for personal reasons. And then we still had one unfilled position for a period of time. Actually, since I've been here, we've had an open position. But I'm pleased to report that tonight we have successfully filled both open positions with highly experienced officers, and I'd like to introduce them tonight. Our first new officer, not so new to me, he's got over 30 years of experience. We worked together for a long, long time in West Bloomfield. He retired from West Bloomfield as a sergeant. He has extensive training and experience as a special response operator and team leader. His leadership and experience will make him an excellent mentor for our younger officers. And with that, I'll pass it over to Officer Wessel, if you'd like to say a few words. Hi, everybody. Come on up, too.
I did 29 and a half years in West Bloomfield, a lot of roles there. I was a FTO, I was on the peer support team, I was a sergeant. I worked undercover for 11 years of my career, both running the unit and as an operator in the unit. I was on our special response team for 25 years. I led our sniper team for 11. got a lot of experience. I'm happy to be here. Like the community. I think it's great. Pretty excited. Just trying to get used to the, slower pace.
Thank you so much for choosing to join our force. We're fortunate to have someone with your experience to join us. That's sort of one of our department's been very good at, Chief especially, making sure that we are getting well-experienced officers like yourself. So thank you so much for being with us.
God bless you. And I appreciate you coming back to me after all those years, so.
Oh, you're welcome.
I know it wasn't easy, so.
Undercover.
And our next officer is Officer Jessica Allen. She joins us after 6 years of experience in the city of Detroit, and she was, for part of that time, in tactical services. So she is very experienced, has a lot of experience with pretty tense situations, but she also understands the importance of customer service and professionalism, which is what we demand here in Franklin. And from what I've seen over the past 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to be a great fit here. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
You kind of, you like stole everything I wanted to say. Yep, so I did 6 years in Detroit. I actually grew up in Detroit. And like the chief said, I was in their tactical services section. Not as cool as him, but I wasn't a sniper, but I have some pretty good tactical training there. And then I switched over to their NIBIN unit where we recovered firearms and I got to shoot a lot of cool guns. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the slower pace here. I like the friendliness. I like, people actually recognizing me speaking in Detroit. You don't get waved at. You get waved at, it's a different kind. But yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much.
What high school did you go to?
So I was actually homeschooled.
Oh, okay.
I was actually homeschooled, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I went to Henry Ford High, and you
Okay.
remind me of somebody that I went to school with. You have a sister?
I do, but she was also homeschooled. So.
Okay. All right. Well, there's somebody who looks just like you that I
Okay, everybody has a doppelganger,
Yeah.
they say. Yeah.
Well,
Welcome.
I want to thank both of you because I know you're both off today and you came in for this, so I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then finally, I'll wrap up with, we have been a little bit short-staffed. When you have a smaller department, when you're missing 2 people, that's going to cause a little bit of strain. So we have been paying out a little bit more overtime than I had anticipated. I just want to bring that to your attention, and as soon as we, move forward, we should stabilize quite a bit. And that's my report.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Tony.
You waving at me?
Yes, hello, sir.
Okay, hi. Hi, Kurt, and everyone else. You received our written report for the month. October is Fire Prevention Month, and I just wanted to add in a request for everyone to do 3 things. Only 3. Usually it's 2, but today it's 3. Number 1, if you call us, can we find you? Do you have your address numbers clearly marked in a different color than the background of your home? Somewhere visible, so if it's 3 in the morning or if it's a snowstorm or in the middle of rain, we can find you. Number 1. Number 2, do you have fire extinguishers in your house? If you do, where are they? And don't think about it, actually find them. I've lived in my home for 18 years now, 17 years, excuse me, and things move over time. So please take a look, find out where they're at, see if they're even workable or operational. So if they're not, please take care of that. And number 3, for yourselves, for those you care about, for your families, whether they live in your home or not, have a plan. A plan for an emergency that happens in your house, as well as an emergency that might happen in the area, severe weather, ice storms, windstorms, tornadoes, and whatnot. Make sure that you have a place where you can meet up outside of your own home. This becomes very important, especially with people with kids. Kids may not want to be outside in the middle of the night when it's cold. They may go to a friend's house, and if you don't see them going there, you might not know that they went there, which could cause you to go back in to look for them. So we can be as safe as possible, but take this month, take just a moment to go that extra step just to make sure that you're ready for anything that can happen. With that said, I'll conclude my report pending your questions.
How do you tell if your fire extinguisher is operable?
Well, most fire extinguishers will have a gauge, and that gauge should have an arrow in the green area, but you bring up a good point. Also look on fire extinguishers for the date of manufacture. If the extinguisher is over 12 years old, it's time to replace it. Over time, springs weaken, springs break, and we'd hate to have something that looks like it works when it doesn't. I know when I purchased my first house in a different city, the extinguisher that was required for the mortgage inspection was older than me. It was in 1949. It had a chemical that has been banned for fire extinguisher use for probably 30 years. But according to the mortgage vendor, we're good to go. So it's one of those things that we should really just take a moment. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Always appreciate your insight.
One real quick thing, if you do have an expired fire extinguisher, is there a particular way that you need to dispose of it, or can it go in the garbage?
So there's two different ways. One is very messy, which I don't recommend. And the other is find a fire extinguisher store. There are several in the area. Take them the old extinguisher and let them dispose of it for you. You bring up a good question, because fire extinguishers, generally speaking, have something that is compressed. It has compressed gas. If it's a regular extinguisher, like I think it's behind the door here, or outside, the whole extinguisher is compressed. Others, older fashioned ones, have a small canister of carbon dioxide. But if you put it in the garbage, you end up creating a potential issue when that garbage truck crushes the trash. And it's a lot safer and better and easier just to get the new extinguisher and give them the old one. Let them deal with it.
Tony, can't we take them to SOCRA?
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all have the ability to.
And Franklin is a member of SACRA, so
Yeah.
they're not only fire extinguishers, but batteries,
Right.
hazardous chemicals, oil-based paints. Whatever you don't want in your home that shouldn't go in the regular trash should go to SOCRA. And they're over in Royal Oak by appointment only.
You can go in any.
I'll just let you go.
You can go in any time.
Anyone
Okay.
else? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Teresa's here as well.
Oh, Teresa. Well, we have,
Treasurer's report.
I guess Teresa, come on up. You are our treasurer now. Today you are official. It is official. Everyone, Teresa Jablonski.
Hello.
I was going to introduce her later, but I'm new treasurer.
Today's my first day, in case you didn't know, so hopefully this goes okay. But in your packets, you should have a list of the checks that were distributed for the month of September. The total amount of the bills list report is $408,597.56. The amounts of the bills that are included in this list are normal monthly spending and routine. The expenditures are generally consistent with the 2025-26 budget. The bills list for the month includes a large entry in the amount of $49,711, which was for the purchase of a 2025 Ford Explorer police vehicle paid to Gorno Ford, Inc. The village has sufficient funds to meet its current and anticipated obligations, and the list of account balances should be in your packet, which are as of October 1st, 2025, held at First Merchant Bank. Any questions?
Thank you. Anybody questions?
Sorry, I have a lot of questions.
I don't know. This was done before I started.
Hold on a second. Wait till we get to bills.
Oh, okay, sorry. Nothing on what you said.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if Teresa had answers to any of them.
Yeah, maybe.
No, that's it. Thank
All
you for the
good?
report.
Thank
Appreciate it. We'll do our bills.
Okay.
I also,
We'll get there.
I see Lance is here today. Lance, again, thank you for coming in today and assisting Teresa in the transition.
Pleasure, serving as the treasurer for the last decade. I told Teresa that although I'm not in a position, I'm here to help. So as she has things that might be new to her, et cetera, it's not in the ways of Franklin, I'm here to help to get you up to speed and always be a resource. And that goes for anybody that has questions on any of these things.
Yes, Lance, you've been a champion for us over a decade. Amazing. And if there is anything that we could have Teresa lean on you for is to complete the investment.
We've already discussed that
Perfect.
project. She's got an important meeting tomorrow with Bingham Farms.
Okay,
And I'm
awesome.
gonna follow that through and see it through because I want that whole portion of our program improved.
Yeah, that's part of why we brought a treasurer. Teresa has great background in that, and to the extent you can give her some direction on what your thoughts were and what has been discussed in the past, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely.
I'd like to make a motion to do a proclamation for land.
For our next meeting.
And I just would like to thank the former treasurer also for taking his own personal time to come in today and go over the process with me and go over the reports, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Teresa. Welcome.
Today's holiday, I'm deferring that to you. I'm not
Oh.
gonna say anything.
All right, sorry. All right, so next, Angelina, submission of current bills. So let's start with any questions and then we can go to a motion.
I just want to make sure I'm reading this right. For under local streets, Fund 203, it's about 49,000 that we're paying Johnson Landscaping. Is that in addition to what we pay them under building and grounds? So it would be, we're paying them close to 72,000 a month.
Mr. President, I asked Jerry Johnson to be here today because some of the invoices are higher than they are usually. Because when we went back in time, we discovered that several of these invoices were not paid. So we've been trying to catch up with some of those invoices. And in reference to your question, ma'am, I believe he could probably answer that for us today.
Oh, Jerry is here. Hi, Jerry.
Oh, hey, sorry.
Everybody? Throw it at me.
No, I was just wondering, there's local streets, about 49,000, and then there's, under building and grounds, 22,000, but they're the same check number, so.
I don't know how it's broken up as to how everything is put in the slots. Back, Jim Creature, they were discussing slotting them for building maintenance as far as the different buildings and roadway maintenance broken down. So how, Brittany?
Yes.
How Brittany breaks it down, I have no idea. How Susan, I have no idea how she broke it down.
But that is how it's been consistently
Yeah, but
done
I'm
in the
just saying,
past.
so it's 50,000, so like 72,000 this month.
I think, no, so again, I doubt that Jerry will be able to speak to it, but I think what was, to your question, it's all under a single check because they probably just did a computation of the total amount that was due and issued it in a single check based off of the category in which the expenditure should have been filed.
So one of the discussions I had with Teresa today was getting with Rachel when she arrives and trying to find a little bit better system so we can capture that data. Because there's a contract that you're under, but then he does a whole lot more than that on a daily basis, whether it's our ordinance officer seeing a tree down or a request from myself or Jenna. And we want to make sure that we capture all of that and record it properly, so.
If it's the total amount, when the past administration left, there was an outstanding balance that was extremely high. And that, I just got paid, it was 4 months back
That's
at
what
one
I'm
time. It actually is going back to 2024.
Is that 49,000, was that back pay?
Yes.
Okay, so we normally pay you about 25,000 a month.
It varies during a peak season from April to about September, or October, can range anywhere based on storms and what is requested of me from those months because of the downtown area, somewhere between 22 and 35, and that rolls up and down. And what I try to do is I try to spread it out over a 12-month period. But what happens a lot is the requests become real high, where intersection trimming, roadway trimming, I try to do some of that when the guys aren't plowing snow. Well, when we get, like we did the last couple of years, the ice and the heavy snow, that takes away from the general maintenance. So that causes the 6 to 8 months of the busy season to generate even more work. Now through November, December, and January, it switches into snow removal, which all the bills come down. That ends up in the area anywhere from 12 to 18,000, so it drops it down substantially.
Yeah, I was just used to seeing between that like 22 to 35 number. So
Exactly.
this month when it was like 74,000, I was just like, okay, what's he doing? But that was, so we were not paying you, we were not paying the invoices that were being sent to the village, and I apologize for that. That was
Business.
poor administration, sorry.
Jerry, I think in general, part of what Teresa will be working on, as well as when Rachel starts, is a more defined system of what falls under your general contract for services and what it will call special order projects, so that we can keep them differentiated, so that we can track how much we're spending annually for things that have to be done every year, to get an idea of what that average is. And then special projects go up and down, as you said. We could get 3 ice storms in a winter and you're out there for 4 days. We could go, you know, a whole winter with no ice storms. Same thing in the summer. Some years, this year, we got a little more active, cutting back intersections. So, yeah, we're working on getting a better system in place, whether it's using BSNA or some other type of software, so that we're all on the same page and you don't have to be answering. And as far as bills not getting paid for 4 months and stuff, I can assure you that's not gonna be happening anymore.
Understandable.
Yep.
Anything I can do to make it easier.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thank
appreciate
you,
it, Jay.
Jerry.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Just so generally everybody knows, we've bid out Jerry's contract numerous times, and he's like so far below what other contractors would charge us for his services, that it's still an amazing deal for us. Angelina, anything else?
Nope, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, can I get a motion to approve the bills list?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Seltzer, second by Solly. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Special reports. Okay. I'm going to address just a couple items today. The first item, I think, I'm assuming Trustee Seltzer might speak in greater detail, but I would be remiss not to mention the historic and monumental day today with the release of the Israeli hostages, and the hopes that we will soon find a resolution to the conflict in Hamas. So I wanted to make sure we did not fail to recognize the importance, particularly to the Israelis and the Israeli families getting their family members back. Second item is I wanted to introduce Evan again for this being his first official council meeting. Is it 2 or 3 weeks?
3-ish.
Yeah, so I think today is roughly will be the beginning of the 3rd week. So Evan has taken on his duties amazingly, has grasped the system faster than we could ever have imagined. We asked Heather to be here for a full 5 days to assist him in the transition, and by the end of the 2nd day, she had already quit and basically said he started to roll his eyes. So we appreciate how quickly you've picked everything up, and you're a welcome, a pleasure to have in our community, and we welcome you, and we hope it's for a very long time.
Thank you.
I also want to make sure that, she actually came up, but I was going to mention that today was Teresa, our treasurer's first day. So again, Teresa, thank you for joining our team. We're looking forward to having you take this treasurer's role and take it to whatever level you think it needs to go to. And lastly, I want to mention that we are officially signed up with our village administrator. She has resigned her position in Pontiac and will be joining us on Monday, October 27th. And that will be her first day. And soon, Chief, you'll start taking hats off, buddy. Pam, do you want to mention the get together? I won't mention it.
Oh,
Well, until it's your turn. But
oh, sorry, okay.
I won't, I'll skip it.
Not my turn, yes. We got it, yeah.
Deer call update. So after we spoke on the subject at our last meeting, looks like some of our people, some of you are still here. And I had mentioned a couple items, the idea of the fact that deer calls typically require 5 acres in order to participate in the call. And we had also discussed that the village wanted to do some further inquiry into sterilization. So after our meeting, I reached out to Brian Farmer, as I had indicated, and he did sort of, I'll say, correct me and set the facts straight on some of those issues. So the first is 5 acres is generally what they prefer to be. It's not a hard, fast rule. The other thing is, although it's easier that way because the governmental body has the authority to allow someone onto public property, even though it's typically done on public property, private residents that have, whether it's one or a combination of residents who were willing to allow the DNR on and would be willing to allow them to do it through their protocols, it can be done on private property, and it can be a little less than 5 acres. The way it was explained to me, that the calls are done in the middle of the night. Usually the shooting goes at about 1 in the morning. They're usually in wooded areas. They set up a bait pile. They stay there for a certain amount of time, so I don't even think there's a certain number they're looking for. It's just what comes during that time period. The snipers sit on elevated positions so that their bullets are always aiming towards the ground, so the chance of ricochet and miss, although I'm assuming they don't miss much, is limited. So I just wanted to set the record straight on those factual areas. Now, with regard to Franklin, also, as I believe maybe Doris had mentioned, 26 is already full by the DNR anyways. I think it's 16 locations that I thought Brian had said they've identified for 2026 in our area, and that's it for 26, so the next call would be in 27. Also, I asked Brian to give me some details regarding sterilization. I did not understand at all how it occurred. I want to say naive to think that it was something as simple as you gave the deers a pill, you caught them, you gave them a pill, they couldn't make babies anymore. Not that simple. From what I've been told is for every female deer that is sterilized, it's essentially the same as spaying your dog or your cat. It is a full-blown surgery. They have to be caught. It's either taken to a veterinary hospital or they bring mobile hospitals. They have to be caught. They have to be anesthetized. There's a full-blown surgery. They have to be sewed up. There's risk of infection. There's risk of not surviving, and the success rate is no better than the other. And it's extremely costly, way more than culling. So, although maybe a little more humane, questionable, if it turns out that you can have risk of infection, and then have deers running around that are infected and die from those causes, our economic situation, I don't think we would ever be in a position to support that. So,
What about the males?
I don't know what they do. I mean, I guess it would be the same thing as neutering, as far as that goes. And the culling, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, that's a great question. For the call, is it the call all females, all does, or do they also try and take out bucks? So as a follow-up to all of that, Brian Farmer reached out to me after he saw that you had been communicating with them, and then our communication. He sent to Evan and I, which Evan and I talked about today, now that he's back. Evan will get on the website and on his weekly newsletter a couple links to Farmington Hills' data that Brian provided us, which is just a whole educational piece on culling in general so that residents can go there to get educated on it. And then the last item is I reached out to the DNR, spoke to the people that lead the call. I have a conference, Teams call set up with them on this Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning, which I'll probably do here if anybody wanted to come sit in the room. In that meeting, I'm going to ask the DNR representative just some general questions consistent with what Brian has told me, and more importantly, ask her or one of their group to see if they would come to our November meeting and be here to address the call and answer questions. If they're not available, I'll maybe try and lean on Brian, but I was maybe hoping that the DNR would be here so we could hear it straight from them.
David, has anybody considered using capture guns rather than killing them and moving them to other places?
They don't allow that in Michigan. They don't, according to Brian, they don't allow that in Michigan. You can't capture and move in Michigan and relocate.
But you can capture them and neuter them. So,
Yeah, sterilization is
So that's basically my update. The links will be available soon. I'll get us some more data. I'll participate in the Teams meeting here in our chambers if anybody wants to sit in the audience at 11 on Wednesday to listen in. And that's where we're at on that front.
Have we heard any concerns south of 13 Mile? I know we hear a lot of concerns north of 13 Mile, but having spent time living south, I see no deer there. I wonder if it's simply, is it all concentrated in the north? And could that be because of the development that we've seen in Farmington Hills?
I don't know an answer to that.
I'm just wondering if we have
The
had
only
any.
thing I would think would be Northwestern's a challenging road, and maybe because of Northwestern, we get less influx from our southern border from Southfield, like we do our western border nonstop, because I live on our western border from Farmington Hills, and the deer just cross back and forth, 14 Mile Road the same. I'm guessing Telegraph and Northwestern are more of a barrier, but definitely Bloomfield Township, us, Farmington, West Bloomfield are sharing the same deer. How they know who lives where, I'm sure they fly around and they do heat pictures and then just do guesstimations.
I'm curious if we've had complaints.
Are
Most
any of you
people
guys
that
south
live-
of 13? And do any of you live south of 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, John does.
And
Yeah. Yeah, John lives
You
right
do, okay.
across. So, okay. I've mentioned this a couple times in the past, and Evan got his newsletter up and running again. We are working on a program that will be rolling out soon that is going to be an interface between residents and the village government. And all of this and all of the communications and all of our ability to reach out to you, whether it's for a survey or to have you lodge a complaint, it's all email-based. To the extent you have not sent either one or more of your families or whatever email address you want the village to communicate to or communicate with to Evan, our village clerk, or any trustee so that they can pass it on, you're missing out, and it's hard for us to feel bad when you say you don't get information when we tell you right now that the way to get information is an email address. 21st century, if you want to be in the know, the way to do it is get us email addresses. And that's it. I'll start, I'll just move our way down, David.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank and welcome both Evan and Teresa. Evan, I can state that your contributions already have been amazing. Even like, I don't know if it seems like the big stuff or the small stuff, but your notifications on Facebook of just like one of the things that we really emphasized prior to you joining was improved communication out to residents and trying to meet them where they're at. And the updates that are coming through on Facebook as well as other mediums do exactly that. So first, I just want to say welcome and thank you. Next off, today I'm rocking one of the Franklin Birmingham Police Department sweatshirts. So those are available over at the police station for purchase, and highly recommend it. For anybody in the audience or watching at home, they're extremely comfortable and highly recommend. As the young kids say, 10 out of 10 would buy again. Next one is that I don't know if we do it here. I don't know that we need a vote of it, but I would like to, for next month, prepare a resolution or a proclamation recognizing the contributions of Lance to the community, somebody who has served as a just a volunteer for the community for that long. Again, thank you.
Absolutely will take place.
And then the last item is today is Indigenous Peoples Day. And I just wanted to share some words and experiences regarding the topic. And so I started my professional career. I'm from South Dakota originally. We have 9 tribes there, and spent my early professional career both living on the reservation and working with Indigenous people. I then went to law school with the intent of working with Indigenous communities, and so had an emphasis on that, and then life takes you down a different path. But wanted to share some education that I learned along the way that I think is important for everybody to understand on a day such as Indigenous Peoples Day, which is within the United States, the legal recognition of tribes is actually a political status, it's not a race. And they're recognized as sovereign domestic dependent nations. And what that means is that they are not under the purview of the state, but recognized as a sovereign government under the federal government. And that's important for several circumstances, and one is the continuity and the continued support and just, I guess, continuation of the culture, the beautiful cultures that exist. And I think the other thing to recognize is that in recognizing these tribes as political affiliates or sovereign domestic dependent nations is recognizing their differences. And so again, they're not referred to as people, but peoples, recognizing that distinction. And so I do think it's important to honor Indigenous peoples, not just one day, but every day. And if you're not familiar with their cultures, I highly recommend it. It's extremely important to each of the governments, because that is how they continue to carry over the government through colonization. And there's a lot of tragedy, there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of pride, and there's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of recognition for what it's taken them to survive this long. So again, just wanted to take a few moments to share some of the education that I picked up along the way, and again say happy Indigenous Peoples Day. So that's it for me.
Thank you, David. Well said.
Nothing for me, except welcome to Evan and Teresa. We're glad to have you.
Nothing for me. Thank you.
I have a couple of things. Let's see, Rick, David, I'm going to need to call on you for the time, but picking up on David Goldberg's comments about a staff welcome, on Tuesday, the 28th, the library is hosting a reception for our new staff, and the time is at 5 to 7? 6 to 6 p.m.? Okay. They've prepared a nice flyer and will be handling the promotion on that, and I'm sure you're going to get copy for the newsletter, Evan, but tell your friends. To David Goldberg's point, we don't have a good way of broadcast communicating in the village, but please invite your friends, the commissions, the committees should be invited, the fire department, and it would be great for everybody to come and meet the new team. So I hope you'll put that on your calendar. My other item is just kind of a pitch for some awareness. Those of you who know me know that I'm a strong proponent for economic development in the village. I've been a supporter of Main Street for years, and part of my involvement in helping us build out our streetscape had to do with creating a livable environment for residents. So from my point of view, it's important, in Franklin, we're mindful of our historic roots. Our goal is to create livability for the diverse residents who live here with different lifestyles, different ages, and really understand, the changes that are going on in the community that may call on us to figure out how to do cell service. We need to have a really good tech infrastructure, things like that, while we're living in buildings that were built in 1828. And all of that can live together. It's not either or. And that's one of the messages for tonight. I had an opportunity to sit in on the Franklin Historic Society board meeting this past week. A group that kind of flies under the radar most of the time. And during that conversation, I learned a couple things that I did not know and want to share that with you tonight. One of the streetscape additions was the light poles down along Franklin Road. This village did have lights in the earlier part of the century, but didn't until 2020. And one of the things we added were some banner arms. You may have noticed the banners that were placed by the Historic Society with mugshots of people who contributed to the village. I thought that was amazing, and I encourage them to continue doing that. It's kind of an education, but it's a celebration too of people who are important to Franklin. Did you know that the Franklin Historic Society has 2 guided walking tours available for the downtown? You access it via a QR code from your phone, and our friend Mitch Album is the narrator. He's donated his time, and they're really good tours. Anne Lamott is a historian. She breathes and sleeps history. She's the one that does the cemetery tours. She's a quiet person. I encourage you to get to know her, and if there's anything you want to know about the village, she would be the person to call. But they wanted you to know about this, and I think you would go on the Historic Society's website to get access to these tours. The Kite and Key comes out twice a year to all homes, regardless of whether you're a member or not, and usually Anne tells a story. She's the editor, and there's information there that dives a little bit deeper. Recently, the Historic Society partnered with a library to do an American, now, if you don't have little kids at home, you don't know about American Girl, but they had an American Girl event recently where there is a doll version that is early American. And they did an education session around an American Girl party with the girls, and it was I don't know if there was girls and boys, but the people who were there, and it was very successful and really a fun and creative event. And then, of course, we've all seen the scarecrows up and down Franklin Road, and that's done in conjunction with an event. So those are 5 things that the Historic Society's done that maybe you saw, but weren't aware who was behind that. And I really wanted to point them out today. We have 2 other organizations that are concerned with historic preservation. The Historic District Commission, which trustees know about, and many of you probably do as well if you've remodeled or live in the historic area. But the other one is Main Street Franklin. And if you remember, the mission of Main Street is to support the survival of small towns through historic preservation and economic development. And that one hits us in a little bit of a different way. But thank you for this opportunity to support the Historic Society. And trustees are invited to go to their meetings, and I really encourage you to do that. It's in the museum, and it's a great tour, great chance to get over there if you get a
Do you know
minute.
how many scarecrows there are?
No, I don't.
My little 5-year-old grandson was visiting 2 weeks ago and counted 47.
Oh, my God.
That's great.
Anyway.
It's quite a project.
It is really quite a project, yeah. They do that out of the barn, yes. Thank you for the time.
Excellent. Thanks, Pam. Angelina?
Yeah, so first I would like to recognize the Friends of Franklin Library for throwing an amazing Oktoberfest. It's the annual fundraiser by the Friends. It's my favorite night of the year in Franklin. It's always the first Friday of October. They have a raffle, it's dinner, it's music, it's German beer, it's outdoors under the lights. It's beautiful. People come from neighboring communities. We always have a presence from the police department and the village administration, and it's just really great to support the programming that we all receive for free from the library. So please mark your calendars, first Friday of October every year. Great job to the Friends. And you can be a member for very little dues every year and get a discount on your tickets if you support the Friends. Second, the Franklin Bingham Farms Police Department recently sent out a informational letter to all Franklin residents on the Benevolent Fund. You should all be receiving it. This year, there's the opportunity to contribute specifically to scholarships for the children of our police officers. It goes towards scholarships, and it's really important that we support our officers' children, and you can also just contribute to the general fund, but I really liked the option this year that you could contribute to scholarships for them and support further education. It also could go to like sick or injured officers or someone that was killed in the line of duty. Second is just like to say this report is amazing. Thank you to Chief Evan for all of the things you have done. There are probably 45 plus on here in the 3 weeks. This is like all I ever wanted to see in my entire tenure on council. Is like I did all these things and we are moving in a great direction, and there are no questions as to efficiency or productivity. This is amazing. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for noticing the meetings ahead of time so people can come. I feel like we've had such a good showing here because people know about the meetings. That's super important as far as public outreach, and the progress and the just efficiency and improvements we've seen have been great. So thank you.
Here, here.
Excited for the staff welcome. And I don't know if you know, but our local elementary school, West Maple, was recognized as one of the green schools. Only 2 schools got it, us, West Maple Elementary and Lansing School District. And West Maple is the elementary school that Franklin kids go to, so it was a very big deal. There's about 6-7 kids of council trustees that go there, so that's exciting for us. And I think that is it for me. Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, sir. It's no accident that I'm wearing multiple peace signs today to commemorate a historic event that we should all be so grateful for. And needless to say, many of us spent the night watching in anticipation, and thank God Almighty we got there. It's also the beginning of Yizkor. I mourned for my father, lit a candle, and will be serving tomorrow at Temple. In that spirit, I would like to reflect on what has been a tumultuous year on council and to speak to my fellow council members. To say that I know that we have frayed nerves and sensibilities. There have been some very unkind things said. Last month I was absent, and there were things said about me that were, to say the least, unkind. I would like to move past that. The only way we can do that is to begin anew in communicating. And I think that we have enough on our plates, and we have a new opportunity with a new staff. We don't have to reflect on why we have a new staff. I think the public knows about that. The public has seen us and watched us, and it's up to us to operate now together in a peaceful manner. I would like to propose that going forward. I came here with a whole different attitude before I heard some things that were said tonight. And I don't want to amplify them because there are all kinds of specious claims and mischaracterizations. But it starts with actual communication and taking things out of context and exaggerating and dramatizing is not helpful. I have a package that I prepared called the receipts, and you either get it or you don't get it. I have in here texts without being FOIA'd in their entirety, unredacted, and I was going to make this package available to our clerk to provide to our constituents on an in-camera basis. No copies. I don't want to see any of this on the internet. But I've decided tonight that I'm just going to hold it for the moment because it will be damaging to some to see the actual context of actual texts and to see what Meg Schubert had to say about last month's meeting and things that were said at that meeting. I have all that. And so on the basis of peace in the Middle East, I would like to see peace in Franklin Village. And so I have devoted 3 decades to this community, and I'm proud of that. And I will continue to serve for as long as I choose. And I will not be pushed out. I am here to help and to work, and people who know me know that I'm available constantly. My phone number has been widely circulated. I took at least 4 calls today from people in anticipation of this meeting. I take them wherever I am, and I'm available. If you don't want to talk to me, that's on you. I ask that if you have an issue and you want to talk, let's talk about it, person to person. And if you don't, it's on you. So, on the spirit of that, I would like to just move forward with our new staff and a clean slate and hope that I don't have to share this. But if I do, it'll be a reflection of what happens following this meeting. And it's everything in its entirety, and it'll explain an awful lot. I leave you with this. We have a great gem of a community here. We've had some very challenging times. This has been a most troubled year, and I've been sitting in this seat for a long time, and I've never seen anything quite like this. We've had marathons to select someone to replace someone's position. The leader of the village chooses who he thinks is best suited. Really, we should support that. And I hope going forward, when I eventually retire, that we give deference to this great leader, because David Goldberg is really one of the best presidents we've ever had. I know this because I know him well. We are friends. We do socialize. I do have a relationship. And I see his car here all the time. We've never had that before, and we've never had to have that before. So thank you, David. I want to work with you. I want to work with this council, and I am devoted to this community as I always have been. Thank you.
Mike, I want to thank you for taking the high road. I greatly appreciate it. And I too would like to hope that everything is behind us. We have been working together very well the last several months. And I too would like to see our new employees be welcomed into a much more accommodating and respectful environment. So thank you for that. I hope that puts to bed a lot of our history. I can tell the villagers that having been here pretty regularly the last month and a half, we are in a better spot than we were. There is no doubt in my mind. We have brought in talented people. We vetted out the process. We followed a process from day one. Pam and Abby were integral in being a part of that, and we implemented it, and we are reaping those rewards. And I want to let everyone know that the village of Franklin is in a strong spot. We got a little work to do this next year to get us financially strong, but spiritually strong and talently strong. We are in an amazing place. And with that, we will close council reports. And Chief, maybe your last time having to wear this hat.
All right.
Make it a good one.
Okay, well, I'll just second what President Goldberg said about the new staff. They've been absolutely fantastic. Evan, his first day, hit the ground running. He's improving our website, social media, Facebook, Instagram. It's been amazing. He's improving processes. So fantastic. Appreciate you. Jenna, who's our building clerk and has actually got a bigger role than what she signed up for, working extra hours, helping Evan, helping myself, working side by side with Stephanie because of all the FOIAs we've been receiving and getting those done on time. Also want to thank Stephanie, who is my administrative assistant across the street. She's been spending a lot of time here as well, certainly doing the village FOIAs with me and working on our MERS 457 account, which we've seen some issues we had to correct. So I just want to thank all of them. And of course, Teresa, her first day today, and she got a ton accomplished on her first day. So thank you. And with that, I'll just remind you that if you didn't see it, we did a memo of what we've tried to accomplish the last 3 weeks. More than half of this was done by Evan. I appreciate that. But again, thank you for your contributions, and I'm very excited about our new team.
Yes, Chief, thank you for everything you've done the last 3 months. I know there's a couple weeks left, but you've been a champion of the village.
Thank you.
Do it.
So this, I know my comment should have actually been in public comment, but I wish you indulged me for a moment. On the morning of September 28th, 2025, a mass shooting and arson attack occurred at the meeting house of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan Township. Though this is tens of miles away from us, we have 3 meeting houses within 6 miles of our village. Having to tell your child that you need to be evacuated mid-service because there's an attack on one of your church buildings is something I never imagined I would have to do. However, as tragic as this is, I would implore anyone that has differences of belief or faith or thoughts of anyone, find a common ground. Reach out in peace. Reach out in hope. Love each other as brothers and sisters. Nobody should have to have that fear. I'm indeed grateful for the rapid response of our law enforcement and the constant updates that we received in the aftermath of this attack. I appreciate those that reached our local meeting houses to search for bombs and other things that could damage or hurt or injure anyone of our faith. Though those members of our faith are not local to us, that has impacted members within our village. And I think it's important for us to understand that peace should prevail. When hate rises in your heart, look for the common ground. Normally I'm more cheerful when I'm up here, and I apologize for my emotions, but at the same time, it is an emotional situation. Now for my report from Planning Commission, I appreciate your indulgence as I shared these sentiments with you. Last month we had a public hearing in which we discussed an update to the ordinance for the R3 district, which we're going to cover today. And this Wednesday, actually in our planning commission meeting, we'll have another public hearing for the address that's located as colloquially understood as the Oyster Bar for an update with regards to some renovations they were wishing to do. Those are the main tasks that we've been working on as a planning commission for right now, and I'm open to any questions or comments.
God bless you.
First of all, I want to apologize on behalf of myself as well as the entire council for failing to address that situation. It was a horrific event. A couple weeks ago, it fell right in the middle of the council, but we all failed in not mentioning that.
Thank you. Planning Commission questions?
Don't worry about it. We're good.
All right.
I just want to say, yeah, thank you for being vulnerable up there. And again, it is a failure on our part. And you and your families are with us. And your family, your extended family, serve Franklin, and they go to our schools and they contribute to our community and they're in our clubs. And that news was devastating. And thank you for sharing it and reminding us to be better at, raising the tough issues and remembering them. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. Mark, anything from Main Street?
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come before you. Sad situation. Sorry to hear that. I looked at it and I watched it and I still couldn't believe it was taking place. But people have their own ideas sometimes and their own remedies sometimes. It's just not the right way. Anyway, coming to you from Main Street, as of we secured another grant for Main Street and the businesses in Green Street, and I'm sorry.
Here it is.
Teresa,
It's working.
Okay.
Do you want to see if we're still recording?
We're still recording, this never went off.
okay.
Okay. It's definitely gone because the generator's not.
Go ahead, Mark.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh,
Mark,
well,
go
okay.
ahead, Mark.
And as of the first week of October, as of the first week of October, Main Street has secured close to $25,000 in grants from various organizations and sponsorships to get our events sponsored as we're moving forward. We have applied for the permit for the Frankenstein. We're moving forward with that, and as we're moving forward with Frankenstein, our next adventure that I've been bouncing around the town is we want to do a Main Street Friendsgiving dinner on the 23rd of November, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. And the way that's going to be is it's going to be put out to the entire village, and we're going to invite them to have a dinner at the, it's going to be newly named Searles Hall Community Center versus Community Church. And what we're going to do is the dinner's going to be a full dinner. It's going to be chef cooked, the whole ball of wax, the cloth. It's going to be full blown. It's going to be a good thing. And a lot of the villagers and the people as I speak are really interested in doing it. And what I've noticed throughout my years is that the holidays come and a lot of people, because we get caught up in our families, we forget that there are others who don't have that opportunity to have the family and the camaraderie around the holiday season. And as I talk to different people, I've discovered in our village itself, there are a number of people that would love the idea of coming together with a dinner with the people and sitting back, talking, sharing, and enjoying the camaraderie of each other and just fellowshipping. And as I talk to people that have been part of the church for 40, 50 years, this is something they did many years ago, and we like to bring that community back together as a community so we can work together, get together, and get to know each other. The best way to achieve peace is to find out what each other's talking about, what's on your mind, what open in a place where you could just sit back and just share. And the dinner is going to be a donation only. It's no charge, donations only. And we've already getting people, sponsors, who's coming up one step forward to help us do this. And I'm excited about it because it's going to grow. We're going to put it out even more. What we're going to do is at the Frankenstein event, we're going to start sending out posters and bulletins to let people know what's going to take place. It's going to be from the hours of 4 to 7 so that people can come, have a dinner, sit back, and leave so somebody else can come in behind them in order to have a dinner as well. We want to do it for as many people as we can in the village to let them know we appreciate their support. We want the businesses to know that we appreciate their support. And as we're moving forward, it's my goal as part of Main Street is to get as many people in a village as possible so they can know what this village is and what it's really about. And a lot of people are noticing that, and it's starting to show. The attitude, the spirit of the village is starting to come together and look out for each other more. And that's what I want to do as we push things forward. We got other events coming along, and that we got the Groves High School Choir is going to come and sing and put on a Christmas performance. So they're going to come and put on a performance. It's just so much that we want to get done to bring the people together in the Franklin Village. I want to see it. I want everyone to know that they're important, that it matters. And if you have any ideas, any thoughts, please bring them to me. And I reach out to all the businesses on a consistent basis. I send out emails once or twice a week to let them know. And as I send out emails, I do talk to the people. I do go up and down the street. I let them know. I hear what they got to say. I don't ignore, and I always respond with the positive response to let them know they are being listened to. And that is having an effect in that now some of the businesses are actually starting to look for people in some of the spaces that are empty. The actual business, well, I think we can put this guy here, we can put that guy, I think this would be a good fit here. And that's what's taking place, and it's a good positive sign for the village because we are coming together as a family, as a team, and as a community. And that is Main Street, that's our goal. Any questions or?
Hey, Mark, I just want to say, as someone who's been involved in Main Street since its beginning, you are one of the finest leaders we've ever had. You are such a great communicator, and maybe it's your church background, but you bring so much sincerity to Main Street, and you push out more messages every week than anybody else. I commend you for that. And there are some big potential announcements coming forward in the next few months about vacancies.
And I humbly thank you for that. I appreciate that very much.
Mark, is this a combination of a church and Main Street event?
Yes, it's going to be a Main Street sponsored event with the church. So we got the volunteers, we got chefs coming in we got actual chefs cooking the food. It's not going to be potluck. It's going to be actually cooked there, served there, plates, the whole ball of wax. So people can have a nice dinner, not paper plates, a real nice sit back and enjoy each other thing. I want it to be.
Leave the church. When I spoke, I was thinking Main Street. Leave this church also. So
Well, it's going to be, what we're doing is Cyril's Hall in the Kitchen is applying for a 5031C, or whatever they call it, to where now that's going to be named a community center, Cyril's Hall. So that's going to be separated out from the church, to where now the church is going to own the property, but now they can rent it out as a property that's not part of the church. So it's going to be a totally different entity from the church is what we're working on. And we're moving forward with that as fast as we can to get that taken care of. So it'll be a community hall to where if the villagers want to have a euchre night, it's not in the church, it's in the hall, it's in the fellowship hall. If they want to have a craft night, it's now in the hall, not in the church. And we want to make that separation distinct and clear as we're moving forward with Main Street, looking for Main Street to grow and show that we're here and we're here to stay in a positive way.
Great job.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
Are you looking for, what are you doing about servers and people to kind of keep the event going? Do you need some volunteer help, Mark?
We have, the church members are stepping up very well, and some of the community people are starting to step up and move forward. And it's a lot of good support. I'm feeling really good about it. And that I know that a friend of mine, she had a house, she lived not too far from here. And what she did was she started a dinner in her home, and she started out 5 or 10 people with her family because they had too much food. Come on up, join us. Within 5 years, in her home alone, she had 75 people coming to her home because they had nowhere else to go. They enjoyed the camaraderie, and it was really funny because just a funny quick story. I was sitting next to a lady, beautiful, beautiful person, and they were eating gefilte fish. And I looked at her, she says, Mark, I'm 94 years old. I said, yeah, I know, honey, how are you doing? And she goes, I hate gefilte fish.
Oh. And
She
you
said,
can
"What?"
finally admit it.
And but she said, if you cover it with enough of this stuff right here, you won't even taste it. So it was just a beautiful thing, but it's like people learning about each other.
She doesn't want, I'll take, man.
But it's a beautiful thing. I learned about different cultures, and you learn from each other. And that's what we want to do, is bring the community together to learn. We can learn to come together in peace and understanding with each other, and it'll go a lot further than anything else we could do. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see the council coming together. It's beautiful. I love it. I love to see the people coming together and understanding that we move forward. And that's what Main Street wants to do, bring people together as we move forward.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Quick question,
Good
while you
job.
have the microphone, would you be so kind as to give everyone the details of the Frankenstein event and the date and time and such? I can say personally, that's one of my favorite events every year in Franklin, and I'll be there with my two daughters, and we were actually just spreading the word over the weekend, bringing in some people from outside of Franklin to come in too for that.
Okay, the Frankenstein is happening, I think it's the 25th, am I correct? Yep. It's the 25th, it's gonna start at 11, and we pushed it back to 4 because of the pumpkin roll down the hill. So we pushed it back to 4 so that they can have the streets closed off for the kids in the pumpkin roll. We have a lot of the businesses are going to be supporting it with the trick or treating, and some of them are putting trucks out in front of their place in order to have trick or treating out of the backs of the cars. Most of the businesses are going to be able to have the kids coming back and forth. We've got people donating bags. We got people donating materials. It's nice. I like to see the people coming together as a unit, and it's great. And as we move forward, what I would like to do is, as we plan these events, I want to plan them out months in advance so we can get more done. Because, I mean, if we plan it out further in advance, we can also get Oakland County to support us with different games and different activities they could bring to the village. Because Oakland County, Main Street, nonprofit, it doesn't cost us anything to bring that stuff in. And if we call in plenty of time, we can get them to deliver these games, support them, and at the end of the day, take them with us. It's just timing more than anything else.
So my understanding is the event begins at 11 and the parade is at noon. Is
Yes.
that right for everyone? And if people haven't been, the parade is just one of the cutest things ever to see all the
It's
kids
the best
in their
parade.
costumes walking down the streets of Franklin.
Yes.
And the pumpkin rolls at 4, you said?
I'd say the pumpkin roll is about 2. It starts at 2. From 2 to 4 is when they have the pumpkin roll.
And you have Frankenstein and his wife?
Yeah,
Gonna
that's
be-
gonna be a handsome devil. but we're gonna find a wife somehow. Somebody don't want to marry the guy. I don't know what it is. But nobody wants to hang out with him. I don't know what it's that.
Mark, as you start to talk about forward planning, you can plan on that every year, just like Roundup.
Yes.
And if there are Oakland County funds and support mechanisms available, go get them, man.
No,
Because
well,
we know we're gonna do it.
What we've already done is with the Roundup, they're actually, believe it or not, planning Roundup already this year. We've already got volunteers that want to do it now. We are partnered up with the FCA as far as when it comes to volunteers, how we're going to treat the volunteers differently. And that this year during the Roundup, the volunteers will be fed. They will be fed, and there won't be any cost to them guys being fed. Volunteers shouldn't have to pay for their own food. And that's one of the things we're moving forward with when it comes to the Roundup next year. And we've already got, I say easily 10 volunteers already ready to do it. And they're planning it up, they're saying what they want to do, and they want to move forward with the Roundup next year. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm thinking it'll be an even smoother event, and I think we can make it a much more beneficial to all the organizations as we move forward.
Good job.
Great job, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Committee liaison, anybody from any committee want anything to report with? Okay. I guess the only thing would be infrastructure. Let's try in the course of the next month to try and reach out again to the preschool. So we don't let that slip through the cracks on us.
Are you guys going to talk about infrastructure?
I thought that was the
We're gonna
last.
do that down.
Oh, I see, sorry.
Okay, that moves us to new business, and I am gonna make a slight adjustment to the agenda. I believe, and it might be this gentleman sitting right here, that we have someone here from McKenna?
Yes,
Yeah, so McKenna, who is our planning consultants, on item new business E is considering the contracting with McKenna to provide mechanical and plumbing inspections. You've sat patiently, sir, and I'm gonna go ahead and move your item up on the agenda.
Well, I appreciate that, thank you.
Yes. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and well, actually, before we do that, let me give everyone an update. So, it was Rich, right?
Jerry
Oh, it's
Hobson.
Jerry, okay, so we have Rich and Jerry, one's our plumbing and mechanical inspector, and one's our electrical inspector. Our plumbing and mechanical inspector had a double leg break nothing related to his work here in Franklin, but has impacted his ability to serve as our mechanical and plumbing inspector. Bill Dinnan has been falling behind on his inspections. Our residents have been impacted by it. Staff has been trying to find a replacement, has been unsuccessful. So we reached out to McKenna, who is our longtime partner in planning services. Chris Dusen is a longtime friend of ours, once originally, and now again, and in between, we had Sarah Traxler. We've had great planning success and leadership from you guys. And as it turns out, McKenna also has other outside services, including these type of inspections. And we have asked McKenna to consider filling in, at least for the interim and potentially for the long term, depending on what happens with Jerry, in serving as our plumbing and mechanical inspector. I appreciate you being here to answer questions if necessary. It probably wasn't even needed, but that just goes to show your guys' true professionalism.
Sure.
So, Kurt, you want to go ahead and explain just quickly, is it Kurt, are you the lead on this, or is, who's? do you know?
Really, it's Bill who's not here, but
Okay,
I'll
go
just
ahead.
stab at it. So, this is a temporary situation where we would hire you at the current rate of $75 an hour per inspection. We don't know how temporary this is, but you want to.
70, correct.
70, okay.
Right. No, absolutely. So I've been with the for 5 years. I happen to live in the area and was asked to, attend this session, and I'm happy to do so. My name is Carson Clausen, longtime resident of Birmingham. Had a bit of a history going back to the 70s and 80s with Franklin, but at a personal level, had some good friends here. Back in the days when horses were like clopping around quite regularly. It was a lot of fun to see, a lot of fun to come here. But all that being said, presently I'm acting as a building official, plan reviewer, and code enforcement officer for McKenna. And while we've been for 45 years planners, 15 years ago or so we started the building services. And so we're more than equipped to be flexible to support this interim time when Jerry's out with people for as long as you need us. And, God willing that Jerry's going to recover and be back on his feet and doing what he can here for you again. But for as long as the city of Franklin needs us, we have any number of mechanical and plumbing inspectors to help, fill the void in the short term or long term, whatever it is we need to do for you. Happy to do so.
That's wonderful. Economically, it's pretty close to what we're paying Jerry. This is more of a flat fee. Jerry got a little lesser fee, but got a percentage of the permit.
Permit fees, correct.
This is just a flat fee, but I know that Jenna and I think it was Brittany had looked at the cost comparison, and it fits in the budget and it makes
Fantastic.
sense.
Well, for as long as you need us, we're here to serve, and so you can always avail yourself to, contact me as well. Happy to provide my contact information.
Are you yourself actually the inspector?
I am a building official. I'm not a mechanical or plumbing inspector,
so-
but I kind of play a role where I help manage as a liaison between McKenna and a number of communities in the area.
And you have more than one individual that.
Yes, oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, so we don't have to rely, anybody could be available to come out on it.
Absolutely. I think that the goal would be where and when possible to have that continuity of one person as much as they
Right.
can, get to know the community and the people as part of your department.
And this
But-
is for a temporary period until he's well? So you want a motion to
Yeah, we're
contract
definitely
with
gonna need a
McKenna?
motion we're gonna need a motion to authorize.
I'll
Guess
make a
that would be
motion to
me.
authorize the village to utilize McKenna to provide mechanical and plumbing inspections on a temporary basis.
Second, I have a question.
Yeah, hold on, so we got a motion by Seltzer, second by Gates, to approve the additional services, well, I guess an addendum to a contract we already have with you guys for plumbing.
Correct.
So this would be an addendum to our existing contract to provide mechanical and plumbing inspections at the rate of 70 per inspection.
That's what I thought.
Discussion. Yep.
How much do we charge the residents per inspection for the permit?
I think all of it, don't we?
We charge the $70 plus the permit fee?
Well, I'd leave that to your.
Yeah, he's-
I know, I'm just asking, do you know?
I'm pretty sure we back charge everything to them, but that's gonna be unfortunately, and that's gonna be agenda question.
It's a pass-through.
So I'll get that
Okay, because I was
answer.
just thinking like, because I can see us charging less for the permit than it costs us for the inspection, because we haven't updated our permit fee.
No, the permits, just so you know, building inspection permits are based on the estimated cost of construction, and then it's a percentage of that. So if it's $100,000 renovation and our fee's 10%, then it would be
We
a
pay
$10,000 fee.
Okay, and then this $70 is billed to the resident who,
Correct.
okay.
Correct.
So this is really, the $70 per inspection is the rate that our residents will pay us. Okay, that's what.
Or the applicant,
It's a
correct. It
pass-through.
could be a mechanical
It's a pass-through.
contractor.
Okay, I just
with
wanted to
builders,
make sure.
Yeah, thank you.
That we're not, one, losing money, and two, that we haven't raised the fee to our residents and not given them notice.
It should be pretty much seamless to the residents and your contractors.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of it,
Good
thank
question.
you.
Anyone?
Well, I'd just like to say, thank you. It was great to see, many of you here and get to know the community a little bit. And thanks for, pushing me up as well.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate
Appreciate
you
that.
being
Thank you
here.
for
Any other
coming.
questions?
Thank you.
We do have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Excellent. We'll get
All
it
right,
taken
thank
care
you very
of
much.
tomorrow.
you.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you for being here. All right, thank you, everyone. So in our packet, we have a Metro Act permit application from Easy Fiber. Easy Fiber gave us a pretty detailed breakdown of their company. Chief, I know, spoke to him, so I'll let you follow in after me, but our understanding is Easy Fiber is an internet service provider.
Correct.
That would like to, and is using their rights to our right-of-ways, to have an additional internet, what's it, what fiber?
So they're
What do
going,
we call it?
they're going to build a third network to compete with AT&T and Xfinity. And their model and their business plan is to have, as soon as you sign up, if you sign up in the next year or so, that fee or that amount you're paying stays steady for the next 10 years. So it doesn't increase with inflation. They're building it all over southeast Michigan, all the communities around us, so.
Is this going to help connectivity in places where we have blackouts? Or is this a wireless
This is a
cable?
wireless
So this
internet cable.
has nothing to do with our
It's not
cellular
cable
service.
service, there's nothing to do with cellular.
Okay.
Other than to the extent your in-home Wi-Fi
Yeah.
boosts your cellular, fiber optic transmission is a faster and more powerful transmission than through the telephone wires and just through the air. But yes, this is only to provide an additional internet service. They are not a cable company, so they don't provide cable services. They're not a telephone company. They don't provide telephone service. I believe it's entirely internet. And it's at no expense to us. They're doing it in the right way. It's all done directional bore.
Motion to approve.
Pretty much so I don't have.
Second.
This is just to give us another option, correct?
Correct, this is a third, this would be a third option for internet service in the village. All of this information is in the data we got us. If any of the residents want this, reach out to the office, although this is in the packet, right?
They're going to do mailings, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'll get mailings from them,
We
but
don't
anybody
have-
that wants to see all this data, just go online
have
to the
to do
council meeting, today's agenda packet, and this whole Easy Fiber little background of their business model will be available.
Did it say when construction was gonna begin? The date?
I'm trying to
I
find
think it
that.
said October of 2025, but the application date is July, so I'm assuming it may be kicked out a little bit. When you guys are dealing with approving it,
October 2025 is now,
correct, yeah.
so like tomorrow, if we approved it today.
I don't know, but that's what the application stated. It would start, it stated, the application dated July, it said it would start working in October, but I don't know if they're delayed because we were delayed. So if you guys are inclined to approve it, just allow me to prepare the permit, which is
a form that is used by the Michigan Public Service Commission. I will prepare that and then have President Goldberg sign it if you're so inclined. I'm sorry, go ahead. Pam, did you have a question for me?
I have a question. So you made a reference to an installation term that I don't know the meaning of. My question is, what is the impact on the residents on the individual property? Is it the DTE easement or is it the easement along the road? And what is going to be the experience of the homeowners?
The term I used was directional bore.
Yeah,
These lines go underground, they
Uh-huh.
don't go up in the lines.
okay,
And a directional bore is basically how they drill this way, and they don't open a trench. I mean, you'll see those guys with the machines on the side of the road and the pipe going into the ground. I mean, that's a pipe, that's them directionally boring and feeding a sleeve into the ground, and that sleeve is then used to run a fiber optic line through it. And that's how you move things along the right of way without having to open up the road and the land on the top. And they have entrance points along the way where they drop in and pick it up and create manholes. But a directional bore is just an underground, directionally boring through the ground to move
Okay.
this line through.
and what will we see on the surface? Hub points, structures, and where will those be in the village?
That's a great question. My guess is how this works is, once you sign up with them, it would be no different than like Comcast. They would go out to the right of way, pick up the line from the direct, from the main fiber optic line. And I would assume, and I don't wanna say it, that in today's world, that they too would do a small trench in your backyard and bring it into your house underground as opposed to bringing it in wires. I mean, even like Comcast Xfinity today, whenever they get an opportunity, is trying to drop it down the poles and bring it in underground. But the idea is that all of this is done underground.
Right, and anybody that signs up is gonna get that information directly from the provider. We won't have anything to do with that.
And I thank you for that. My question has to do with, from a village standpoint, will there be structures, control points, maintenance portals or hubs? We've got a couple of those in the village from other fiber optic, or other utilities, and I'm just interested in knowing what the impact on the surface of the village is going to be, and I didn't see anything in here about that. It was really aimed at the homeowner, but what about the infrastructure from which the lines to each home will happen?
Don't know the answer to that.
I guess I'd like to find that out. Is there any way to I mean, I'm not gonna vote against it, but, we don't need people putting up big metal boxes on corners. It's happened, and it's because we haven't asked questions.
Do we want to turn this over to our administrator to research further and come back next month? Or do we want to conditionally accept and approve based on our satisfaction after hearing those kinds of specific answers?
Under state law, do we have the ability to deny?
I guess that's another factor, yeah.
Those words are, you cannot unreasonably deny. There's a shot clock as well. We're sort of behind the curve here.
If there are structures above ground that are sort of like that big box over on 13 and Telegraph, and then we've got that thing we call the crypt along Franklin Road, that's a maintenance point, I would request that, to the degree that we can legally, that we can approve those locations. Because we don't want them in people's property, and we already have some places where ideally the spot is already taken, put another utility structure there. I would just like some input into that on behalf of the village.
It's right there.
So there are.
I agree with trustee Hansen. Could we just also add to that to give notice to the residents who are impacted?
Oh, yeah.
Send them a letter, even if, I know this came up a few months ago under the old administrator that we can't do anything, but could we give them notice that there will be a, you know, installation on their property?
Or I prefer that they're not, we
can send a letter,
work
right?
with them to,
That they're gonna send a letter to them?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Right, right?
David,
Well, hers is different, sorry, mine was a letter, notice.
yeah.
Hers
yeah.
was more
President Goldberg,
selection.
just to provide you notice, I gotta go pick up the kids from the babysitter, so I may be able to make it back with some attendees for the council meeting, but just wanted to let you
We
know.
love to see the game, so thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah, it's, David's, he found a picture of it, that stuff. We just can't have that in people's yards. For the trustees, it's in your packet about midway through, and there in fact is a significantly sized box that's on a concrete base. I really feel
Can you find that
strongly
then to put it up?
that we need to have input into where these are located and put some parameters around this, that we not leave that completely up to the company.
Why don't we ask for the representative to come to the next council meeting and present?
There, we can ask, I know they have no physical people.
Oh, really?
In Michigan at this time, they're based out of Chicago.
Oh.
But I certainly can ask, maybe they can do Zoom with us
Maybe
or
they
something
could-
like that.
Right.
Or could we vote on which that rather have the ones that are more like sewers than the ones
That
that
would
are
be a-
protruding?
A good solution.
Okay.
With them.
Okay.
StreamYard or
Not
Zoom
as
with
bad
us.
as
No,
these.
they are, no. But if we could, and I'm fine even delegating this to the administration, because I think you can act in our interests, but just can't leave this one unanswered.
So do we want to approve conditionally or bump this to next month and ask for further information?
Peter has something to say.
There's a quick shot clock here that requires activity, whether approval or denial within a certain amount of time. So it's been sitting there for a little while.
Oh, has it?
Looks like
Like since,
And if we,
July. The application date says July.
oh, okay, so it came in the midst of our upheaval. So if we don't approve it, are we liable?
You are subject to fees.
Yeah,
They
we
usually
don't-
work with us. But yes, we could, state law requires action right away, and you could be subject to violation penalties.
what if we take a vote on like the least obtrusive,
Well, you're looking
installation?
at two different things there. The,
I don't know that we have-
the holes, the look like manholes, that's how you access the fiber optic lines, and they have those, like I had mentioned, access points every, whatever, so many 100 feet, so that those directional borers, you can get in and
You have to maintain
repair.
them.
Yeah. The two things you're seeing on the right, those are power boxes. I have to assume that these fiber optic systems need power to move them through, and I don't know how often those are put in. I mean, like how many you would put in. So Pam's has raised one really good question, and as far as the shot clock, we'll cross that bridge with them. Just because it was dated, that doesn't mean their application was completed on that date. But they give us this map of the village, which is what they call Exhibit C, but all Exhibit C looks like all of our roads. Are they implying that they're running this fiber on every road
I don't know
in the
what
village?
they're trying to-
Right, and the question that you had would be, is how often throughout this would there be
Where are those going?
those
Are you
various
suggesting we put,
apparatus?
Are they in our
landscaping
market
around?
right now or not?
Like some sort of landscaping
Are we
feature
like the
or some
Tesla
natural
background?
lighting?
Nice,
No,
depending
it
on
says-
where it's
It said
located.
Birmingham Novi Commerce.
So could we go see in Birmingham what one of those looks like? Like, would we be able to get a location to go?
I could ask.
Or we can talk to the planning department in Birmingham and ask what conditions they put on it.
Oh,
I'll call them.
okay.
I'm just uncomfortable with leaving this open-ended, you guys. I will vote no.
Hold on, sorry,
Like I
Peter.
said, why don't we do a conditional approval? And ratify that next month.
I could do that.
So I'll make a motion
Hold on
to,
a sec, but if we have to come back and still deal with it next month, and they haven't really accomplished anything in the interim.
And just real quick,
And I don't know if there's any urgency, have you been getting calls or emails saying, hey, what's going on, Peter?
This is the first I've seen of it.
Oh, this, I think this
Then
was
let's
dealt
push
with
it off.
by the previous administration, and Peter and I just aren't up on
Right.
what the
Yeah.
discussion
Could have
was.
slipped through the cracks, or maybe prior administration advised them of our transition, and that's why they've been patient and waiting. Go ahead.
no, the application form says February 2nd, 2015. And then there's another application that says July 8th, 2025. But then they actually applied for service in Michigan back in January of this year. So I feel like starting in January, they probably came. I bet this February 2nd, 2015 is a
Could be a
misprint.
typo.
And then in July 8th, they sent us the application, but they were trying to get into Franklin since February, it looks like, and that should be a 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they may have been waiting 8 months at this point, right?
The application date is July 8th. I'm not sure when or how it was received. I know there was personnel issues here. I can engage them if you guys want to give me the authority to do so, to discuss any of these
I think
questions.
that's the direction we should go.
I think so.
I agree.
And maybe they're inclined to approve it, but we just need some more information.
Yeah, I think that's a good course of action, and you can indicate that we had a change of management during that period, and that's where this got sort of lost.
Yeah, I just want to sure also, it says under MCL 44.3115, they could charge us at 40,000 per day if we violate that. So just make sure we're not going to get charged.
I will do my best to tell them thank you for granting us the
40,000 a day.
extension.
Come on.
We are waiting on this issue, and we will address it right away.
We may already be accruing, it says 45 days from the date a provider files an application.
There is a penalty provision from nothing less than 500 to 40,000 per day, that's correct, in the Metro Act.
Well, guys, I don't, it seems like no one's real comfortable acting right now. I'm gonna say I lean towards it's sat here for this long. I think we should, like,
I'll withdraw my motion.
immediately this week, Kurt, let's reach out to them, or, I'm sorry, Peter. Let's reach out to them and find out where they're at, and if they're okay with us pushing this to November. If you're getting like a lot of pushback, then obviously let me know, and in worst case scenarios, we have to call a special meeting for 10 minutes and deal with this right-of-way application if it turns out that they're threatening things against us. I'm not, I mean, just,
Should we vote on it, and then if we,
so that was sort of your conditional.
that's what I'm thinking. So that way, if he has to act quickly, we don't have to
Have a special meeting?
call a special
Right.
meeting.
So then we can go with a conditional.
That's what I'm saying, I agree
Go
with
back to
that.
my motion for conditional approval,
Right.
pending a determination by our village attorney that we've satisfied trustee Hanson's query.
Just a quick thought, it sounds like we're required to approve this under the law unless there's something unreasonable about it. Is that essentially
Correct.
what you
Correct.
said? I mean, are these kind of things that we're concerned about? Do you think this even provides a basis for us to deny it? Like, this seems just inherent in the technology that they're gonna be these boxes periodically, and it doesn't sound like we can do anything about this anyway.
Yes,
So
your
tell me if
hands
I'm wrong.
your
So,
hands are pretty much tied.
You're absolutely right, and in dealing with T-Mobile over the course of the last year, they have been cooperative and have been understanding and have held off till we could get our act together. We can't necessarily say the same of this applicant, and we probably wouldn't know that until we reached out to them to let them know, hey, we've had a transition. And as far as a conditional approval, what is it that you want an answer to for the condition to trigger? How many, like, is it all of this is gonna go in the right of way. And these things do exist all over the village. Most places hide them in the trees and the bushes, but they certainly exist. But what is it that we want to get an answer to when we reach out to them this week? Location of the various pieces of infrastructure, whether it's manholes or electrical service stations, as well as how does the line get from the right-of-way to the residence? Is it also an underground trench? Is it a directional bore, or do they bring it up and they can't be running it up poles, because poles are mostly in the backyard. My guess is this is gonna be running in people's front yards, and it's gonna probably be a directional line right to the street. I was reading through this. They restore your property, all of those things are a part of the process. But
I would just
what
like
do we
to know.
conditionally approve? The question is, are we gonna try and do a conditional approval where we wanna leave Peter to be the one that's comfortable with the information we have obtained, or do you just wanna plan on bringing this back next month, and if in the course of the dialogue we start getting some threats and pushback, we'll just have to deal with it? Or conditionally approve it? That's what I just need to know, what's the condition that's gonna be the trigger?
If we conditionally approve it, we don't have to call a special meeting, right?
Correct, but conditionally approve it on what's the condition?
What's
That
the
we,
condition?
that we get sufficient information of
Getting
its
sufficient
location?
information
What
that
if
satisfies us.
What if trustee Hansen sends Peter her concerns, and then when you speak to them, you can send an email that can answer them if they can, but we approve it tonight, so that way, like you said, you just wanna know.
Well, I want this council to have input into where these power boxes are located. And my preference would be that they are co-located with other similar structures wherever possible. But I think we need to be noticed on where these structures are going to be before they are installed. That's all.
But it does come back to,
I don't have
do we
anything more to
even
say
have
about
a
it.
say in that legally?
Well, we have with other utilities. They've been willing to be flexible.
Can we just make a motion that, MZ co-locate the installation of fiber optic power boxes next to existing power boxes where feasible?
So I'll amend to a conditional approval based upon our satisfying concerns about location in areas that are already containing fiber optic boxes or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, we want it co-located with other boxes.
I mean, if,
Where
where
feasible.
possible.
Where feasible. Yes, as soon as I,
Is that,
yeah, I will leave a message tonight
okay,
with that. if you
all right.
guys are so
So
inclined.
that's my motion.
I trust you.
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
Do we need a second?
Not really sure what the motion is right now. Are we on the, we still on the, we're gonna do a conditional approval,
Conditional approval based upon,
subject to
subject
village
to,
attorney's satisfaction that questions of trustee Hansen with regard to type of infrastructure, location of infrastructure, and access to the home is answered to your satisfaction. If you're satisfied that Pam's questions have been answered, then you have the authority to say, go ahead and sign it. If you don't, if we don't, aren't comfortable with it, then you would tell us you're not, and we would reach back out to them to see what they're willing to do to fix it or deny it and deal with what happens from a denial.
What I can do is report whatever I obtain to President Goldberg, Trustee Hansen, and the forms are provided. And if we can tweak them to condition this approval, and them saying, yes, we'll co-locate it, I'm comfortable doing it.
Good.
Yeah, if we had to argue anything, I would argue that their Exhibit C is not very clear in demarcating. Are they implying by Exhibit C? I mean, Exhibit C looks to me like every road in the village of Franklin. So are they implying that they're giving us everywhere where I see a red line, I'm gonna have a fiber optic line?
That's the way I read it. They
Right.
want-
That's an ambitious sales target.
It certainly is an ambitious rollout.
I'm looking forward to switching internet providers.
All right, well, we have a motion, and Abby, did you second?
I did, yeah.
A motion by Seltzer and a second by Gates to conditionally approve the Easy Fiber application, subject to Attorney Gojaj being satisfied that Trustee Hansen's and other concerns of the council have been answered to your satisfaction. And we'll let you be our arbiter of that. If you're not comfortable, let me know, and we'll figure out what to do from there.
Understood.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, guys, good, that's a good resolution. And this isn't, good question. Hopefully this isn't gonna be a major impact on the village. Thank you. Next item, consideration of Mark Zizow as application for Fire Board of Appeals and Construction Board of Appeals. I have been trying to fill these positions. Mark has stepped up to be on both the Construction Board of Appeals and the Fire Board of Appeals. Mark's background in his everyday life makes him qualified for these, and we certainly appreciate his volunteering. Having been on one of these boards in the past, this is not a regular meeting body. I don't know the last time we called them, but we do have to have one. So let's start by approving Mark to be on both of these, and I apologize, this is on me. I will make sure that by next month we have, it's been getting people to fill out the application. The biggest issue is I will make sure the others that I have been speaking with that have background, that are residents in these areas, get applications in for our consideration next month.
Mark's a great candidate. I'll make a motion to consider Mark's application for Fire Board of Appeals and Construction Board of Appeals.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I serve with Mark on ZBA. Are you gonna be able to do all three? Because you'll be here.
If anybody
more than
can,
us.
he can.
I'm very proud to be able to help the village, and I will take it to wherever it needs to be.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark.
No problem.
Yeah, and like I said, Angelina, I can't tell you that in either of these bodies, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
It requires either someone to appeal a decision that the fire department made on them, which, what do? Inspect buildings a little bit? Or an appeal to, the construction board of appeals really deals with appeals to code issues, whether or not code was properly
Yeah.
applied.
No, I just know Mark, he showed up more as an alternate than the regular.
No, Mark's amazing.
Members of ZBA, so I just want to make sure we don't burn out a good volunteer.
No, I don't think that'll happen on this one. So, we have a motion, we have a second. Further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, Mark, thank you for your continued support of the village. Item C, discussion on zoning ordinance R3 district amendments. So, and, Stuart did stay.
Do you want to grab
We're
them?
on the cameras.
Does Stuart want to come?
No, we're on these R3.
Oh,
district.
Oh, okay.
So, our council, and a lot of it was triggered by a couple of non-conforming fences in the village. Council asked the planning commission and Chris Duzen to do a deep dive into the R3 district and determine to what extent the setback requirements in our ordinances impact residents in the R3 district from getting the full benefit of their property that the rest of us get having larger lots, and that some of these standards that are being implied on them, which are even the same that are implied on all the other lots in the village, have proven to be onerous, ranging between 24 to 27% of the houses in the district, which totals, what did he say, 30, you know what?
37.
37. So 8, 9, 10 of these are non-conforming. So the commission and Chris looked into these and have made some recommendations on some fixes.
If you go to the next page, you'll see a red line marking of that.
That's where the next page are the literally the changes that they're suggesting.
So, the main one that, from the, setback from the both sides totaling at 25 feet, it didn't, for us, it didn't make sense to set an arbitrary distance where you could have 10 and 15 feet on both sides. Why not just leave it at 10 on both sides rather than, having to do the extra math to give you that 5 feet, of a restriction. So just keeping it consistent, for the neighbors, helped significantly. And then for the rear, just by moving it, 10 feet by 30 to 30 foot, we're able to help those, in violation of the rear, of the side, I'm sorry, the rear setback, concern. The wording below with regards to the red line of the except in the R3 district was added, and then the red line where it said in the R3 district, a detached accessory building shall not be nearer than 5 feet. And this is also in accordance with the recommendation by Bill Denon with regards to International Building Code, and how anything less than 5 feet will require special fire protection to prevent cascaded fire effects between buildings of adjoining properties. So that is where that's in compliance. It satisfied the concern of the building official. And then on the last page, a red line of adding specifically the 5 feet from the side lot in the R3 district. So in case where the garage may be erected 10 feet from the side lot line or 5 feet from the side lot line in the R3 district, just emphasizing that for everyone else it is 10 feet, but for the R3 district it is 5 feet. So those are the main points. I think the red line helps explain fairly straightforward how this should be done. Yeah, please.
Yeah, love the red line. Question. If they're pre-existing non-conforming,
They're not necessarily. So pre-existing non-conforming means that in some cases they existed prior to, and in other cases they were built even with the ordinance in its current form. So unless we pull back old records to see if they're pre-existing non-conforming, we wouldn't know if they're grandfathered in or not, where this is just allowing them.
yeah. So we don't know which ones were in violation of the ordinance when they were built, and we don't know which ones were pre-existing non-conforming. So people could have been building secondary dwellings in violation of the
Accessory
ordinance
buildings, yes, yes.
of the-
Yeah, I mean, remember, we're dealing with the historic district, so.
Some
These
were.
houses were built in the 1800s, and we didn't
Right.
have building ordinances at all. So there were no setback requirements.
And,
for all we know.
right, and then in addition to that, and along with your concern, I think that it's important to point out that even if it's existing non-conforming in the event of a disaster or destruction of that facility, they would have to be brought to code or to ordinance, which means they couldn't actually rebuild the structure that was already existing non-conforming.
Yeah, but I'm saying, is that a bad thing? Because isn't the point of the ordinances to bring people
It is.
to be in compliance with them, and you're grandfathering them in because they built it and spent money at a time, And now that we have a new code, if you need to rebuild it, you'll rebuild it in compliance with the ordinance.
Yeah, yes. Well, it basically allows them to stay status quo to what they have today,
But not if it's destroyed.
but not if it's destroyed, right?
So was there, like, what council, it was the last council that asked for this, right?
It was last council. We've been talking about this for a while because we also worked with the Historic District Commission to verify whether these changes are in accordance with their principles of the historic nature of the village. So this was a joint effort, not just, I don't know if this actually calls it out in this letter here. No, it does. Okay, yes. No, it doesn't. But one thing I did want to point out is that all of these efforts were actually done in connection with and coordination with the Historic District Commission and their vision for the Historic District.
So of those 37 homes in the historic district, do we know what percentage of them, do the residents want this? I know they didn't show up to the Wednesday public comment, but I'm just asking, those lots are so small. Would they want an accessory building on that small lot within 5 feet of their neighbor?
So the majority of the Historic District Commission members are representatives of that district.
Did they vote on this?
Yes,
What
they
was
agreed
the
to.
vote?
Everyone was fine with it. So
Okay.
and they represent where they live essentially. So I think that because they're protecting the nature of that district, that the residents probably didn't feel obligated to show up and support because it was already getting the support from the Historic District Commission. So that, I'd like to think that's what it is, and not that people couldn't make it to the meeting.
The ordinance doesn't vitiate their already existing legal nonconformity.
Right.
What it does is like, for instance, there are 12 people that have a garage in their backyard that doesn't comply with the 10-foot minimum setback, and their whole house and everything exists on that. That garage burns down today, and that garage is only 5 feet from the property line. When they go to rebuild it today, they'll have to build it at 10 feet, just like everybody else in the village. The whole point of this was because those lots are so small, and because they already have existing things that are on top of each other, when we range from 21 to 75% nonconformity, should we make those restrictions a little less impactful so that somebody could? I know that we have I've seen ZBA variances where people are looking for variances because their garage is 6 feet from the sideline.
Right.
Well, this would take care of that if we reduce it to 5. That person can't do anything to their garage, fix it, replace it, do anything, because it doesn't satisfy it.
So one thing that I'd like to give larger context for, which isn't actually explained very well in this document actually, and I think David Goldberg, President Goldberg, you mentioned it earlier a little bit, but the request was not just for the setbacks and easements. It was actually a holistic look at all of the different ordinances and how they impact the downtown R3 district. One of the areas that's been impacted are fences. We looked at our neighbors, we looked at similar villages and townships like ours, and everyone has a different feel, a different look at what they want their historic district to look like. We determined at the time that that for the fencing ordinance, that we should just be enforcing the one that we have, and so those that are legally non-conforming, the Historic District Commission would also like to consider them updating their fences to meet the ordinance rather than changing the ordinance to meet the existing non-conforming. So what this is after those many discussions over all of the different ordinances that we could update to help alleviate some of these concerns for the R3 district, this is the culmination of that effort, in that we've narrowed it down to an area that we think makes sense, and excluding the areas that we don't think a change is necessary.
I have a question. Sorry, related. I think last meeting we had the owner of the Franklin Oyster Bar come in and see if we considered, loosening the restrictions on businesses in the historic district, so that way, there could be more done in regards to updating infrastructure, water, signage. Are we looking at them too?
To make, you mean to make it more friendly for
Yeah,
commerce?
just like more
Village.
investors, less restrictions on signage, and I just wanna know, like, when you say it was holistic, was this holistic in the
Residential.
housing, not in, okay, so is there an effort to look at how our restrictive historical ordinances, limiting investors?
You know, that's a really good point. I think that it would make sense for us to meet with the Main Street and find out how they're being impacted and people being prevented to actually come into the village because of the restrictions of our ordinances. I think some of the restrictions are not necessarily by us, but due to some, like the bank has some funny things that are difficult to deal with. But it's not like it's something it is something that we should consider, because we do. I mean, one of our goals in the Planning Commission is to improve the downtown area as well, and bring commerce back into the village more so. So that's a good next step for us, is to talk to Main Street and say how our ordinance is also not fair to our commercial entities that are down here. So that's a good point to bring up. Thank you. So
You guys totally chose to not deal with the side yards. Why?
the fences?
Side yards in general. You got rid of the 25-foot total, which means you saved the people having to have an extra 5 feet somewhere in there, but still stuck with 10 feet and 10 feet. That's just, even though 9 people have it on one side of their house and 8 on the other side of their house, that if they, if they had issues, they're gonna keep holding fast. So that was sort of where you guys, sounds like that's where you guys drew the line, that front and back, not such an issue. Accessory buildings, since they're accessory and usually aren't aligned with the residents, they're usually in the back corners, back line. I'm assuming that's your rationale why you chose to not address side yards at all?
I mean, right now, the properties are so close to each other as they are, shrinking that even closer is not necessarily a advantageous thing for people.
Yeah, I'm not
So-
sure I'm saying one way or the other. I'm just more asking the question. That's how you came to that conclusion, because
I mean, that's one of,
somebody's garage burns down and it turns out that their garage now has to be a couple feet off the property line more than it was before. That's not as impactful as your house. And I mean, I've seen some of these that have 1 and 0 feet of setback. I mean, that's someone losing potentially 10 to 15 feet of house.
are you referring to, like, because there's a fence structure that's right against it, or is that the actual property line is right, they're right on the property?
When I read through this, Chris's chart of it, he went through every single house, and of these 9 that don't have meet on the left side and 8 that don't meet on the right side, some of those are like 0 and 1 feet. And that's fine. I mean, that's just what
Well,
that's
the
what they have to
problem
deal
that-
with. I'm not saying it's bad. And should we
Right.
try and rewrite the ordinance so that somebody can build a house right back on the property line? I don't think that was.
I think part of the challenge, though, is if you look on this last page, if you build it too close within the side lot line, then you're also, there's also a fire hazard for downtown as well, if there was a fire. So,
Absolutely.
so keeping it separated is a protection for the neighbor in some,
Yeah,
in
and
that
that's
way.
just the one area that you guys have concluded we're just not gonna be able to help
Yeah.
people. That's just the nature of that type of living, and back in the 1800s, surveying equipment wasn't quite what it was today, and for all we know, these were
Right.
these were trying to be built farther from what was actually the property line than they ended up being built, but
Yeah.
now we have to deal with it, and as long as those residents understand that it's still on your side yard, there's still a big chance that something happens, you're,
Have to move it a little bit.
again, repairing it, replacing it, we've been pretty liberal in that regard. If you're just putting it back to where it was and it's generally what it was, we've let it go. But if it gets obliterated and it's gone, that's different than fixing. Gone
Right.
is gone.
But
Right.
they could still apply for a variance.
They
with
could for
ZBA.
ZBA.
Absolutely, 100% they would.
And
That
those,
would be certainly a fair hardship, in that I used to have it, and
right.
now I didn't, and I didn't do anything to.
What this does is it minimizes the effort that the ZBA is going to have to go through anyway, and these are few exceptions, not a majority, right?
No, and you guys did good, because these other areas are where majority of the variances are coming from.
Right.
not new homes. There are no homes being built. And yeah, if someone's doing an addition or an overhang that could be impacted, but again, real ripe for variances. If you're at 10 feet, but now you wanna put a second floor on and that roof goes a foot into the setback or 2 feet into the setback, those are the areas where you would think that ZBA would be.
Right.
All right, so that was really the reason for my question, was you definitely analyzed that one out and concluded that the side yards is no-go.
Right.
Okay.
I guess some.
Are we looking for, we're looking for action here, right?
I think this is first reading, right?
It's no reading.
It said discussion.
Discussion,
No,
okay.
this, we would set it first. If
Set it
we're
first
ready
reading, then.
to adopt the ordinance revisions as proposed by Chris in page 2 and page 3, then, yeah, we would get a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing.
Okay.
Well, you already had your public hearing.
We had the
I'm
public
sorry.
hearing.
Schedule our first reading
Right.
at next meeting.
Yep.
And we have, in the past, also done more deep dives and had further information between first and second readings. If something comes up, or
Yes.
as a result of the first reading, we get a bunch of residents here that say, whoa, I'm one of those 9, and why are you
Right.
doing this to me?
Right.
And then we'll cross that bridge then.
I'll make a motion for a first reading of the zoning ordinance R3 district amendments.
Second.
Per the September 19, 2025 memo of McKenna. We have a motion by Seltzer, second by Sally. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Good job, Stuart.
Cool.
Way to vet this one out.
Thank you. Just a side note for ordinances in the future, I noticed on the municipal ordinance website that we used to add ordinances to a table of when they were updated, and so that people could actually look at the most recent ordinances. It hasn't been updated since '23, so there's some concerns with regards to people I've been getting calls and emails and texts, but how do I know in the last 3 years what has been actually passed? I know we passed ordinances in the last 3 years, or last 2 years. So when they go to
That is on Evan's list.
Okay.
I think
Just
Heather picked up on that and
Al,
left that. for
Heather
you.
picked up on a lot of things like that.
Well, yeah, she
And
was the
we'll
last
just
one to
add
sign
that
it.
to the list of the things that
Things
are
are
getting
corrected.
corrected in the village and why our new staff is gonna lead us into the,
That'll help me a lot. So thanks.
a lot of that didn't take care of.
Yes.
Next meeting, can we talk blight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're doing it's on November. It'll be on November.
It will.
Well, that's part of what I was gonna mention.
Can we remind everyone to do that?
Well, Evan will send an updated email.
From McKenna.
A month ago, we got the memo from McKenna on blight nuisances.
Yes.
Then we got that chart that you guys prepared, all the other communities, all the different areas where you can address nuisances, whether it's in ours or not, and then it asked us to do a yay or nay, whether you would want to continue supporting it, or get rid of it, or something that we're not including. We need that, everybody to review it and be prepared to discuss it next month. In the course of that, Mr. Ferris.
Yes.
Doing his legal research, concluded that 2 of those items were
Already covered.
erroneously written in the list. Evan has the updated fix from Dan, so.
Yep.
Although it only changes 2 of what you have, there will be, this week, Evan will get out the updated one, and by next month, yes, absolutely, it'll be on the November agenda to begin discussing
I think I had-
blight / nuisances.
I think I had Chris send it to Heather.
Chris concurred.
Yeah.
That Dan was right.
Yeah, no, thank you, trustee Ferris, for coming to me afterward, sharing that. So that was a couple layers deep. You did a pretty good job on researching that out. So thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
so Evan will get the updated one out this week, so look for that one, then you could, if you've already done it, just transfer it over to the new one, and we'll be ready to discuss next
Yep.
month.
Cool.
I have a question. I don't know if it's possible, or if there's been discussion about including our ordinance officer in certain circumstances where he's boots on the ground dealing with these different
So
ordinances.
let's see if Don can be here next month.
Okay.
And we'll pay him to stay for the extra hour, too.
I know Don was at the infrastructure committee, when we first talked about blight.
Okay, good.
We
Yeah.
included him.
Perfect.
Oh, good.
And that was
Okay, good.
in, July, was it, Dan?
Okay, that's
a while
all.
back.
I was just.
No,
Oh, actually, May, that was.
yeah, since he'll be forcing it, as we discuss these items, I mean, it would be great to have clarity for him and his input as well. Because I know that for some of the ordinances that have come out, especially the ones I'm thinking of that I'm being commented on regularly, he's having to enforce ordinances that aren't currently on the books, though we were approved by village.
I know he mentioned today that he'd love to be involved if it's possible, so.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And
Sounds good.
Thank you, Evan, again, for picking up on the undone work from the past couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Item D, consideration of purchase of 2 flock cameras in the amount of $6,000, this year using state forfeiture. Kurt, you want to go ahead and update everybody on what flock cameras are and how things have changed that we now have to step up and be participants in the
Sure,
game?
sure.
In the game?
I think I'll start off by saying, kind of piggybacking a little bit of what Stuart said about Grand Blanc. And one of the things I saw on TV during that incident was a police officer saying that he never thought a thing like that could happen in such a small, quaint place. And one of the things I've said since I got to Franklin is that bad things can happen anywhere. And I asked the council for some new equipment, some red dot handguns, tasers. We tripled our training, and you all said yes, which I appreciate. And it's keeping in mind that bad things can happen. And that's why we bring in experienced officers. And you might ask, why would we need officers that are tactically trained? It's because bad things can happen, and we want to be prepared. And this system, this flock camera system, kind of came into existence, at least on my radar, about 5 years ago. And we had bought over 24 different cameras in West Bloomfield, and surrounding communities have jumped on board as quickly as possible because they really are a game changer as far as investigations. These cameras, which are positioned at major intersections, are constantly taking pictures of cars that are going by, and that's just gathering data. If a stolen car goes by or a wanted vehicle from another jurisdiction, that information is pushed immediately to a local dispatch center, which for us will be Bloomfield Township. That can let us and surrounding jurisdictions know the vehicle's wanted. If we have a major crime right here in Franklin or in Bingham Farms, we can use those cameras to immediately, within minutes, find out the vehicle type, the color, how many times it was occupied, and get that information out to neighboring jurisdictions, as well as track those vehicles, which incident in West Bloomfield, we had a shooting at a house where several people were shot, and we were able to track that vehicle from the northern end of West Bloomfield all the way to the city of Detroit, to a general, maybe mile area of where that person lived. So it's a very effective tool for investigations, and we've used that here in Franklin in the past. About a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, unbeknownst to us, they shut off us borrowing other jurisdictions' information. So we would call Bloomfield Township or West Bloomfield, say, hey, we need to use your Flock system to find a vehicle. They would give us that information. Well, Flock has caught on to that small agencies were doing that, and they said, if another agency does that for you, you can't use our system anymore. So we're kind of handicapped at this point. So I talked to the Flock representative. I said, for a jurisdiction our size, for the number of officers we have, what is the least amount we can buy into to access all 500 cameras in Oakland County? And he said that it would be 2 cameras, $3,000 each. So we're talking about an investment of $6,000 a year for a minimum of 3 years. And that would be my recommendation for this type of advanced technology. I think it's a benefit for certainly the police department, but for the community.
And this would have helped you with regard to that incident on Franklin Park Drive with the young girl.
Yes, and that's where we found out we no longer had access to flock cameras, yes.
I make a motion that we approve this flock camera proposal using $6,000 of forfeiture money.
So, well, we have a motion. Anybody want a second? We have a motion and a second, and we'll have discussion. Your thoughts are 14 in Franklin, 13 in Franklin?
So Flock will come in and they will do a study for us free of charge to look at neighboring cameras and where it's best for us. But my thought process is because we have so many events in the village here, FCA or the Green and Main Street, that I'd really like to have 2 cameras at those intersections at 14 and Franklin and 13 and Franklin.
When you alerted me to this about a week or so ago, when you found this out and said we gotta put this on the agenda, I've been paying attention as I drive in Farmington Hills and West Bloomfield. You'll pretty much, it'll be at every intersection, and if you look in Farmington Hills, they have it at a lot of the half blocks, the half miles. It's basically on a telephone pole, it's about this big around, it's white, it's got about 4 or 5 little antennas sticking out of it, and it's basically like a LiDAR camera, it's just spinning nonstop, picking up make, model, and license plates from what Chief,
Yep.
and then that gets plugged in, and if they get a ping for that license plate here, and then a ping over there, they just follow the pings, and it's,
I mean, it's been such an effective tool. Like I know, like I said, I think I bought $50,000 worth in West Bloomfield. They're gonna buy another 24. Farmington Hills is right around 60 cameras. And we're seeing that different subdivisions are also buying their own cameras. Over on Woodland and Bingham Farms, they have their own flock camera, which we'll be able to access. So HOAs here can jump on board where we would have access.
Does Bingham Farms already have one at 14 Telegraph and 13 Telegraph?
There's one at 12 and Telegraph, which is Southfield, and there's one at 14 and Telegraph, which is Bloomfield Township. And then Beverly Hills has 13, I believe, cameras.
so Bingham doesn't have it either.
Well, that would be
Bingham
us,
has-
right? Essentially, it's our police department, so Flock would have come to you if they wanted to put them in Bingham.
Correct.
Are you going to be talking with the Bingham Farms
Yeah.
Council about this?
How have they been doing, they're gonna get cut off too.
Well,
It's our
we
police
are
department.
them,
Yeah,
right?
we
So-
are them.
But I mean, did they
Oh.
want one at 13 and Telegraph, because that's,
No, because really the 12 and Telegraph is gonna pick it up in 14
Oh,
and
right, they
Telegraph,
pay a
right?
share of
And then
the
there's
budget,
already ones
so-
on 13 mile
we're
and
just putting
15
it
mile,
together.
14 mile in Beverly Hills.
so now they'll have access, or are they splitting the cost with us?
Bingham Farms, I haven't discussed that with them.
Well, the
They're
forfeiture
gonna-
money's forfeiture money, but I
Well,
mean, if
But
in the
moving
future-
forward, it's gonna be part of their 35%,
Yeah.
because we're putting it in the
Yeah,
budget
yeah.
moving forward.
This is the only year that really we have enough forfeiture to cover this. We'll have to look at if we have different revenue streams in the future of covering it that way.
But it's a small price to pay for the level of security.
Oh, 100%. I'm just asking if
Yeah.
now they know that they have access to this,
Yeah.
which is great for
I'll bring it
council
up the
to know.
next village meeting.
Yeah.
So,
To the extent they would kick in is, well, again.
I'm just saying,
they're
if they
not
want an
kicking
extra
in.
camera.
Right,
they
that would
can-
be a discussion that we would have, is do we wanna get more than
I mean,
2?
we could get 3, because maybe we could pay 6,000, they
And
pay
put one at 13
3,000.
in Telegraph.
Sure. I mean, it's a great tool.
So, just a couple of things. So, real quick, I just want to make clear for the record, anybody watching. So, again, this year's completely out of state forfeitures. It's a 3-year commitment, so not to rule out that there won't be a potential for forfeitures in the future. Let's just make the assumption that it's for us, or that it's coming out of our budget. This is a representation of how many flock cameras there are within this area. And so to anybody who's I wholly support this, because if you look at this map, and I encourage anybody who's interested to do so by looking at our council packet, I don't just view this as cameras within our community. The amount of data that we are accessing for $6,000 a year is astronomical and far exceed the cost of
And we've been
$6,000.
literally poaching that
Yeah.
for the last however long, and they finally said, time to step up,
Yeah.
and we have to step up, there's just no way we won't.
Yeah, I support this as well. I was just wondering if you've heard of any kind of grant opportunities to help support the funding of this. It just seems like the kind of initiative that really benefits all of Southeast Michigan. And so it seems like the kind of thing that potentially could be subject to grant funding. Just curious if you've heard of anything about that.
I have not heard or researched that. I didn't because the dollar amount was lower. I certainly did for like the tasers and the Axon cameras, but I can look at that in the future.
Bottom line is that when Chief and I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, as it related to that very scary incident on Franklin Park Drive, had we had access, we would have been able to capture potentially that individual. And right now, we don't have that, so.
It could have helped clarify the investigation and give us more information, certainly. Yes.
Yeah, David hit it right on the head, it isn't $6,000 for 2 cameras, it's $6,000 for access to 500 cameras.
Obviously, we'll put very detailed policies in place. We're not going to be using the system. I'm responsible for the system. And really, only the supervisors are gonna have access, and Bloom Township Dispatchers already has access.
Yeah, but when I read it, it said unlimited licenses, which is good, because that means like an administrator can look at it, Evan, you know what I mean, like, if.
Well, it's gotta stay within, it really should stay within the police department.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does unlimited licenses mean then? Officers?
So typically, yeah, again, from a contractual standpoint, if it's unlimited licenses, there's probably another provision if they said you can no longer provide access to surrounding communities, that they would say essentially within your entity, you have unlimited licenses, which means that Kurt could make a determination of how many officers he wanted to have access to the data without increasing our costs. Yep.
All right, any further discussion? Just to remind, we had a motion by Seltzer, second by Solly.
Yep.
All in favor of approving $6,000 for 2 flock cameras out of state forfeitures, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Kurt, thank you.
Thank you.
Last item, this is for our infrastructure committee. We received sort of a follow-up packet with some drawings. I'm gonna turn it over to you guys to deal with, but this is essentially, you're asking us to focus on 3 specific locations where you'd like to have us consider sidewalk crossings. So, we take Dan, you taking the.
Sean, take it away. All right, so, thanks everyone for giving this a little bit of attention here late into the evening. We've been continuing to work on this with the infrastructure committee, and special thanks to Chief also for not only his input along the way, but actually being so kind as to host us in his office for a meeting last week as we went through this. And this just gives an overview to start, to refresh everyone's memory, where we're thinking about putting in crosswalks and a stop sign. The blue dots represent 3 proposed crosswalks, and the red dot is a stop sign that we'd also like to consider and discuss here tonight. And so, Evan, if you can go to the next page, there we go. So on the subject of crosswalks and the subject of one of our named trustees here, and then if we could go forward. And also, Trustee Gates, in addition to being a font of knowledge in the subject of human resources, it turns out that she's something of a graphic designer on the side and put together these amazing images. So this is coming up Franklin Road at Woodlore to help orient people. There is a compass there, but we are facing north. And so what we're proposing here is, we have the sidewalk along the right side, but we also would like to provide a safer means for people to cross Franklin Road, this being a natural pedestrian crossing really for this whole kind of vicinity of Franklin. So our goal with all of these things is to increase safety for pedestrians in the community, to just give drivers that awareness that this is a place where they should be on the lookout for people to be crossing, and we think that's a worthwhile endeavor here. So I think it probably makes sense if we take them one at a time for discussion purposes. So with that said, let's open up this particular, but before can you go back, Evan? Yeah, do we have any comments on this particular intersection? Another part of it before I do that too is we should probably talk about the signs that we've had in the middle of the road here. We've tried some of these out in other locations, but and Chief can speak to this with more firsthand knowledge too, but our signs are getting used and abused, and so we're talking about improving how we use those signs too. And Chief can speak to this. Do you want to share what we've observed with the?
So we invested in the pop-up signs, which are relatively heavy and durable, and certainly at like scenic. When people turn left, apparently they're not looking to the left; they're looking to the right. So they turn left and they drive right over the sign, and it's really taking a beating. So these signs are really only going to last a year at a time, and they're relatively expensive. So we're looking for other signage, the infrastructure committee, and it could be just as effective at intersections like that.
So one idea we talked about, it would potentially be possible to drill them into the pavement, right? Because right now they're just kind of sitting there freestanding, right? But they would have to be replaced periodically based on
What is that, can I ask, what does that sign indicate? I cross that every day. And my question is that sign telling people not to hit me when I walk across?
That you have the right way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is, in your opinion, does that have effective?
Well, I don't know if we've settled on the exact sign that we're gonna use, but there are several different variations of crosswalk signs. I know Angelina has done some research on that, with also like an arrow pointed down towards the crosswalk to get people's attention.
My question has to do with demand. So are you hearing from residents that this is unsafe and there are a number of walkers? It strikes me that this is a serious point in the village where people would want to come onto Franklin Road. But what you're saying is also they want to cross over
So there's
Franklin Road?
actually no east-west crosswalk from the beginning of Northwestern and Franklin until Scenic and Franklin.
Okay.
So there's nothing,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing on Franklin Road, there's nothing at 13 Mile East-West, there's nothing, until you get to Scenic, and then Scenic is where that sign's taking a beating, so
Yeah.
Chief had to actually move it off the road.
Yeah.
So instead of drilling into the actual road, which we felt like was installation, and we
Mhm.
didn't want to do that, we
Mhm.
wanted to put the signs where there's already signs.
Okay.
And people are used to looking on the east-west side of their car.
Yeah, and my question only had to do with, I'm surprised that there are a lot of people that want to cross Franklin Road right at that point.
Well, we have an
I didn't
officer
know that.
placed there quite often doing that.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay.
So there's a lot of traffic and people crossing there.
Okay. And especially they'll have to cross the road to
But
get
I'm
onto
just
the
questioning
sidewalk.
whether that
won't they?
sign is gonna tell somebody to slow down.
Yeah, so, Mike, or Trustee Seltzer, I get where you're going. So, real quick clarification, Chief, is when, I know we've previously talked about that when somebody enters into a crosswalk, that is when police can actually pull somebody over.
Correct.
Do we need a sign does the sign have to correlate with the crosswalk in order for you to enforce?
You know, looking at the law and talking to the road commission, it's pretty vague. So if you would go to court and someone would want to fight us on a ticket, we're gonna have to convince the court that this is in fact signed, not properly, but enough that it looks that it is a crosswalk. The normal person, everyday person would realize that that's a crosswalk.
And to stop.
Yeah, and I'd like to speak to that too. I think the intention here isn't to have our police officers out writing people up with
Absolutely,
tickets
yeah.
for this. The
That's what I
intention is to just raise
I
awareness.
mean, to me, it's glorified awareness.
Right.
It's a glorified alerting system, not a natural, not necessarily a legal area.
So what's the cost of striping in this case? Is it a major expense?
So we talked about, I think, 4 intersections at one point earlier with the infrastructure committee, and I got quotes anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 just for the paint. I talked- for all.
Total.
And I talked to Jerry Johnson, and he has a vendor or someone that works with him that can do the painting as well as the signs. I don't have that cost back yet.
It's not even a factor as far as, I mean, it's a safety thing, I support it. I walk across in the post office, people speed up when they see me.
No, Stuart, you want to talk,
So,
but we were also thinking the reason to put 2 of them is to add that little canister of flags as well. If the Boy Scouts still wanted to do that as a service project. Just so you know, we approved-
I have a different
Let's-
comment, but yeah.
Can we see the other ones, just so we get a sense of?
Can I make a quick comment on this
Yeah,
lot?
sure.
So one of the problems that I cross here all the time. One of the problems that pedestrians have is there's no consistency in these triangles in the village. So in this case, you can exit, you can stop on this side of the island or stop on that side of the island. When you're crossing from the west side to the east side and there's someone parked at a stop sign, they're directly in front of you. Like, you're gonna cross right into the parked car. So the fact that we don't have a one-way only going eastbound here and then your westbound exit on one side is a little confusing because in this area of Franklin, all the other triangles have one-way signs that you stop on the right side and you go in on the opposite side. So you go in on the right side. So this is actually a point of confusion for people. The fact that if you're going to put a crosswalk sign, changing that to a one-way would also help, because otherwise you're going to have people that are trying to cross into a car that's stopped at the stop
Where are
sign.
you talking about a parked car? What do you mean parked car?
If you stop your car right here, you're going to stop facing right at the crosswalk.
Oh.
I cross there all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful when there's no one stopped here, turning left off, turning south on
So we
Franklin.
discussed this, like, do we put it on the north side, the south side, and I think with chief and the infrastructure, if we did need to add that sign, like, we would be in favor, but we figured.
My point is
most
that area is not
people-
consistent in the
We
village.
figured most people already follow the rule of thumb, like going and out, but to your point, because this is the only triangle in the village that doesn't have that, we figured to move it up.
Right, no, I don't disagree with where it's located. All I'm saying is that it's very confusing because you could have someone turning left onto Franklin, going southbound from the right stop sign and from the left sign simultaneously. And now they have to pay attention to the crosswalk and the car that's south of them.
So you're saying we need a one-way sign saying?
Just like everywhere else in that part of Franklin. So there's triangle, if you go to any of the other triangles at the exit of this section of Franklin, they all have one way except for here, which I don't understand, but.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So.
Thank you for sharing that. I think I would support your proposal of making them one way as well.
We can add that to this location.
Give me 10 minutes.
Our graphic designer will.
I'd like Peter to weigh in, but if whatever you decide to approve, I could come back in November with the traffic control order which will go to the clerk for signage, and if that works for everybody, to make it legal.
Fine.
Am I correct on that?
I believe so.
Because our clerk is our traffic officer. Is that it, chief?
He's our traffic engineer.
I guess,
You have another hat already.
Next
Yeah, I
one.
mean, it would seem that, you know, we do have engineers, there are consultants that have traffic engineers. My question is outside of whether or not to approve it in these various locations, notwithstanding Abby's wonderful graphic artist abilities, how do we know what is the proper place for this? As Stuart said, if it's gonna be a crossing, and this is still a two-way intersection, that on this south side of the Woodlore, that if you lined it up here, you're walking, you have the chance that you're walking straight into the car facing you, or if you went, you know, to the north side, then you would at least be walking parallel into cars that were turning in. Like, to what extent have any of these intersections been looked at by HRC to chime in with?
Where they located actually makes a lot of sense. Where it's drawn here makes a lot of sense because Woodlore does not line up perfectly on either side of that island.
I get that, that's, a lot of our roads aren't aligned like that. So like in this exact graphic, on the left side, you're sort of walking into the grass, you're not really walking into the intersection, and you're walking into like the middle of the intersection here. Is there a standard where, and this one's a little harder to line things up than, say, the one we're looking to look at Normandy and Wellington, where it's more of a true T intersection. That's just what I'm wondering. That is just, are we gonna get any input from somebody who actually does this for a living to tell us, no, you know what, you should do it right in the middle. Put it right in the middle and have it go across right like, I don't know, like, where does it,
We had like a very surface question for HRC, and Chief, I think you asked them on the phone, and we got a bill for $2,000. So the cost of consulting HRC for these ones that are within Franklin will cost more than the actual improvement itself. And would it make a difference? And also, we kind of still have that project, entire 13 mile, which we will be using HRC's studies for. So like and HRC was also the one that said to remove the stop sign on Franklin Park Drive and Mountain View, and then all the residents came in and said no, and then we put it back. And so, like, is HRC going to direct this council on where to put crosswalks? And do we want to spend the money to have them we have no idea how much an hour they charge us, but it is not cheap, and they want to charge us $1,000 just to update a quote that we can add inflation percentage to. So that's like our thing.
Angelina, the issue of what they charged us for answering the question, if it was $2,000, goes more to the question and the answer in the bill, and a discussion with HRC as to why they charge us so much and an understanding of it. I still can't, I don't see how us as layman council people can sit here and say that we're gonna make a decision over our traffic engineers, and the reason we don't wanna ask our traffic engineers is because it costs too much to ask our consultants to do what we pay them to do. Then that's a far greater question than this sidewalk. And it's, do we need to look at our engineer consultants and things like that? That's a far greater question of what you're getting at than should we ask our, and I mean, we don't have to use HRC for everything we do. There are consultant engineers that specialize in traffic, and I mean, I'm in the industry. I can go to my phone and give you 5 traffic engineers right now. So the greater question of not doing the right thing because we don't want to spend the money to get the answer that we need to have is not how we should be doing business.
No, I'm not saying not do the right thing. I'm saying we have very limited funds. We're in a financial crisis essentially, and we know 13 Mile is going to take extensive study, and bidding out a new traffic engineer contract could be 6 months in the making. And we've already put up stop signs against our traffic engineer recommendations. So I don't think we have a precedent where we would follow their recommendation anyway. But
we ask for the recommendation.
So,
We don't just make the decision
Can we,
on our own.
real quick though, can we just get clarity then? Is it, hey HRC, should we put a sidewalk connecting across Franklin Road at Woodlore? Or is it, we want to put a crosswalk at Woodlore, how's the best way to do it?
I'm not suggesting we ask them for permission. What I'm asking them is, as a traffic engineer, there has to be some standard. Look, we could just not call these crosswalks, okay? We can just put paint on the ground and just call them warning. And it's just an alert that this is where people cross. And it doesn't have, like, to have it be controlled by traffic control orders and have some level of specification, I don't see how we can just randomly be the ones that decide where that goes. I'd much rather have a dialogue with HRC about how we got the $2,000 bill you're saying for asking a question that just doesn't seem to make sense. But
I would, sorry, Stuart.
One thing that's missing here, because Street View hasn't updated, is there is a sidewalk that exists already along crossing Woodlore. And so if you look at satellite view, I mean, either side you could make an argument for, and to your point, President Goldberg, like having there might be a standard of care for crossing. There's a sidewalk here. You don't see it.
This image right here doesn't even contemplate the streetscape. So,
right.
Again,
that's
like.
why I'm so confused. Is this where the crypt is?
Yes.
That's why I'm like, where's, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I keep thinking I'm up at
No, it's
Normandy.
not.
It's,
That's why.
it's
I'm so
Street View hasn't
confused.
updated. It's Google's fault.
Okay.
Google's fault.
Yeah, but,
So it's that intersection.
I think just in general, let's consult HRC, but first we would have to get a quote on how much per hour we would be charged for their consulting services. But when we brought this to the council in May, it would have been super helpful to know that we wanted HRC to consult on these issues, because now we're in October and we're just hearing about it, and we've met with the old administrator, the code ordinance officer, the chief, multiple times, probably a dozen or so meetings. So
Yeah,
just-
but I agree, but again, I still agree with President Goldberg on this because, again, do I want to pay some absorbent amount? No, I don't. But my initial thought is if we put on the south side, then, again, because it's not an updated image, it won't accurately reflect the sidewalk and the blind spot. But again, one, you have traffic. If somebody's coming across the street this way and entering onto the sidewalk, or even going down Woodlore, the cars will be turning into essentially that crosswalk. Whereas if it were on the north side, they'd be crossing at the point of a stopped parked car. And so you're not running into that same instance. And so that's where my mind goes if we were to couple it with one-ways. So again, the reason that I fully acknowledge what President Goldberg is saying is like, we already have a difference of opinion or starting to see like, based off of how we would structure one-ways, it could change the outcome of the safety of the pedestrian.
visibility on the south side is way better than on the other side when I cross, yes. They're coming down a hill from going northbound.
Okay, yes,
And
so on the record now, we're doing it live.
Sorry.
So, no, same point. So if you're going southbound down Franklin Road and we put that crosswalk on the north side and somebody's turning right, you have the exact same problem, but probably more of a blind spot to your point because there's no sidewalk clearing out that section.
Right.
Makes sense. Thank you, Stuart.
Well, could we do a conditional approval tonight to help move this forward, where we say something along the lines of we approve crosswalks at maybe this and other locations if we agree, subject to HRC fine tuning or something along those lines?
I'm gonna go out there and take a look, but what I'm wondering is there room next to the crypt to have a sidewalk intersect with the existing sidewalk and then have the crosswalk go right up the middle? Because if now what you're saying is just north of where that sign is and just north of the Woodlore sign and sort of where the stop sign is, we've got a sidewalk running this way. And couldn't we put a sidewalk just from the edge of the street that intersects it there, and then our crosswalk, like I said, walks right, starts in the middle? Like, it's just so weird to start a sidewalk on the end and then have it go straight across into, like Stuart's saying, into the front of a parked car. If you're driving a car and you're coming up to the intersection and there's a crosswalk staring right at you, like, what do you feel like you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of things to that point is, again, with the image you'll see, this sidewalk actually bends back into Woodlore. So it's not as easy as just putting it towards the center because, Pam, I'll give you credit, the crypt is catching on because it's descriptive and makes sense. You have the crypt, then you have the sidewalk. You have road, crypt, sidewalk, which is why this makes sense because the pedestrian would essentially be standing before the stop sign so they don't have to worry about traffic to their back. And then when they cross, they'd be entering essentially onto the sidewalk south of Woodlore. And then if you have the directional of the one-ways, as Stuart was talking about, that would correct that stop sign issue that he was talking about.
So can we
This is
say,
Woodlore.
So let me just say that we used other engineers here. HRC is probably a little mad because we've cut them off. That happened with Meg, for good reason.
So, I mean,
And
what I've heard,
we've
it
used
just,
other traffic
yes, and I think that that's something that the future administrator with the support of the council could maybe rebid that contract.
But we never had a contractual relationship with HRC, never. We should have been going out to bid with those guys all along. We didn't. What Meg's contribution was to stop projects that didn't look like they were producing anything, but we never re-upped and had a discussion about that. that would have gone to the finance committee, and it never happened. So I tend to agree with David Goldberg and say, let's get somebody to take a look at this. It's a complicated crossing. We may not be seeing some things, but let's not necessarily go to HRC any more than we would anybody else. I know that your predecessor has Dan's hired a traffic control company, and we made Who to School get one. So they're there.
There's definitely costs.
Well, it's a cost, yes, it is a cost.
Can we take a motion to approve it and then the council decide how much they want to spend?
This is on today's agenda for approval. I mean, if someone wants to make a motion, they can make a motion. I thought we were discussing it, but help me understand the urgency. We are in late October, about to transition into November. Is this something that you're trying to get done now? Like, are we gonna go and put fresh paint on the ground in November when it's about to snow and have salt and
So we brought this
snow on
up to the old administrator the first week of May. So now it'll be 6 months.
Okay, well, that's how things go in government. I mean, is there, still help me understand the urgency. Do you have a list of like a numerous amount of residents that are really complaining about
We
this?
want to start work on 13 Mile, figuring out what we're gonna do, and that's focus. And this was the first initiative of the infrastructure committee, and we spend a lot of hours meeting.
Can we see the rest of them and not focus on just one?
Okay, let's see the others.
The others.
Okay.
Oh, go back to that was two. So this is,
Okay, so this one, we're facing east, just to be clear to everybody where we are. We have Brandingham coming into Wellington. So this is a point where we proposed putting in stop signs in addition to the crosswalk painting and signage, as this is, it's a pretty long straightaway on Wellington before you get to this point. It seems like a sensible place.
I don't understand the crosswalk. I understand the stop signs, but why, what are you walking across from one patch of grass to another?
Yeah,
Nobody crosses there.
Well, we're up for discussion for sure, so we appreciate everyone's input on it. And admittedly, it is unusual for a crosswalk because it doesn't actually go across, right? Brandingham doesn't go all the way through to the other side.
Right.
The thought was, again, though, just to raise awareness that this is a natural crossing point for residents coming to events on the village green, baseball fields, church, etc. And to raise awareness, to have cars be on the lookout for pedestrians here. And I think it is a little bit of a tricky corner, the way that Brandingham bends around there. So that's our point. I think, if we put in the stop signs, one way of looking at it would be that maybe that's sufficient and we don't also need the crosswalk.
I think the crosswalk is a little odd in that location.
that vertical white thing that says crosswalk already. And that's what's on Scenic in Franklin too. Remember I was telling you earlier, there's like that vertical sign? Those don't do anything.
Well, I think.
Don't even pay attention to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
address.
trustee Seltzer's point is you could just put in the side, or the stop signs and remove that crosswalk sign. Yeah.
I don't, in all the years that I've been here, I don't think I ever noticed that pole as any kind of a crossing indicator.
No, I'm saying that's what
The
the
white-
crosswalk signs look like outside the church, or outside the post office right now, and outside Scenic and Franklin. That's all we have in the village right now, are like those vertical things, and that's why people don't stop. Cause like no one notices them.
Well, okay. I get the stop signs, but there's been some history with concern about putting up too many stop signs because people then tend to speed through them in anger. And so I don't know.
To your point, though, I think there may be more, because what's the one right before this that has a stop sign?
Evan, will you go to the next one?
Because that's not even like a thoroughfare, that's a dead end. It connects two dead ends across Wellington. So my point is that, or not my point, my statement, I guess, right now is I think there's probably more value to having the stop signs here than at the other one.
And this makes some more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Because that's a natural crossing area, even though it's not crossing it's not a main street, but people are hauling down Wellington.
Yeah, and here, to just give a little bit more thought behind it as well, we already have people who are gonna be stopping, at Franklin Road if you're headed westbound. It seems too soon to have another stop sign right here in proximity to Franklin, but it's a major intersection. Any kind of event in the community, you have people walking, going every which way at this intersection, and so just to have the signage and the striping out to put people on notice, we believe that that's just wise to increase safety in the community at a minimal cost. So.
Is your objective to get people to use the crosswalks and not just cross the road wherever they are?
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes it safer. If you have a designated place where people are supposed to cross, I think that helps, so people aren't, going diagonal across the intersection, which is not as safe as crossing in the designated place.
The only time there's really heavy usage in this space is Roundup. I mean, we don't get that much traffic for music and movies. We
Yeah,
don't
but
do
kids
it.
going to play in the park though.
Say it again?
Like kids going to play in the park,
And there's a school right there too.
yeah. Or like baseball games and stuff, or
Yeah.
like there's pretty heavy traffic down there. The parking lots are always full during baseball games.
Yeah.
I mean, I would look at something like this, like it can't hurt, but again, to David Goldberg's point, we need a traffic expert to tell us how to position these, really. I mean, I appreciate the volunteer time put in to selecting these based on your own examples and criteria, but are they really legitimately areas that a traffic engineer would say?
Would somebody looking at this necessarily understand, I mean, and again, Abby's not expected that she was able to drop this exactly where it was supposed to go, but is the idea that it'd be like this, where it's actually off of the intersection itself, so that it's just, like, this is how you get from one side to the other, but if you're 5 feet this way and you wanna cross over, you just don't get sidewalk protection, so if you get hit 5 feet this way or 5 feet that way, it's the car's fault? But if they hit you when you're in these lines, then it's your fault, and if they hit.
I think best practice is to cross at the shortest distance.
I just don't know that people would actually pay attention so much to crossing in that space just because it's there. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I just want to make a point. We have a downtown, but it doesn't feel like downtown once you get away from Franklin. This is a downtown area. This is a place where people do cross in both spots. The baseball fields are this way. Having these things downtown makes it feel like you're part of a downtown, that people are commuting, walking around.
Yeah.
So the fact that we only have it on certain spots on Franklin Park Drive makes it feel like we're a pass-through village and not a central location.
look, I'm not objecting. The cost of this is insignificant. We're talking less than $5,000 for all of this. I don't think we should spend a whole lot of time sifting through the dollars to get to the pennies. I'm just saying a traffic engineer should probably tell us, are these good locations for implementation? And if so, I'm 100%. It's not a lot of money. It's not even worth thinking about. If it helps make things safer, there's no downside. But I think we're just sort of arbitrarily, I'm not dismissing the effort that's gone into this, but I mean, there's so many places in our community that we all walk. And we take we take risks every single place we walk.
So again, there's lots of ways to control traffic. So if the objective is to slow traffic down and to direct pedestrians, is that correct?
Improve safety, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yes, like that, we concentrate the crossing of pedestrians for more predictability for drivers.
So, what did your committee consider a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit in that zone? And slow signs or other ways to notify drivers to be mindful of pedestrian traffic? I'm only operating from what is the objective.
Legally put a speed limit less than 25.
Oh,
Yeah, and we
okay.
put
What about
those,
speed bumps?
we
What
put those
about-
data things
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
What about speed bumps?
That's infrastructure.
Usually not overly popular with the.
No, I know,
commuters.
I hate them, but,
Locals,
I mean, if we're really worried about speeding and pedestrians.
So we don't want to like increase ticket revenue with these. We're trying to,
We're trying to
like,
increase safety.
yeah, and for,
I'm just not sure that
yeah,
that,
for us, it was like the sidewalks came, and to us, there's more people outside walking because there are sidewalks, there's more downtown. We have a growth in our Franklin baseball, a growth in the community events, most traffic and attendance we've ever seen at Roundup. So like this, to Stuart's point, like increases the city center and makes it safe for residents to walk to the center. And that was our intent. Our intent wasn't to like,
I get it, I support it. I just think we need a little bit more guidance, that's all.
Well, and again, I would propose making the motion tonight to approve these locations subject to consultation from
I'll make a
HRC.
motion to approve these locations subject to further scrutiny and
Throw
maybe.
these all in as one?
Well, if,
You throwing them all in as one? I mean,
I'm
whoever's
okay
making the
se- I'm
motion,
okay
make the motion,
separating
but be
them
clear on
if
what you're
you-
doing there.
I just did all three at once, so let's test that and see if that passes.
Yeah, oh, you made a motion? Oh, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
But it's conditional, based on.
Condition on what?
On consultation from
More
HRC.
scrutiny and traffic, guidance from professionals.
To identify the exact
Exact
location
locations
of
and the
striping and
practicality.
signage.
Recommendations? Yeah.
Yeah,
Get recommendations on location of striping and signage.
yeah.
Yes.
at these three intersections. We don't want to do like,
Not to be devil's advocate, HRC may want connecting sidewalks. So if your crosswalk's gonna end at the grass, they may want some sort of connecting sidewalk to the next intersection.
that would be against the charter.
Can't do it.
You
Okay,
can't do
I'm
it.
just saying,
Yeah, can't do it.
And that's to my point of like, when they come back and say it, we're still probably not going to totally listen to them because we can't put sidewalks here.
All right, well,
Conditional.
there was a motion, I seconded.
Do you wanna
Any
take a
further
vote?
discussion? Evan, roll call.
Trustee Jim Hanson,
I'll vote yes.
trustee Daniel Harris,
Yes.
trustee Abigail Gates,
Yes.
trustee Mike Seltzer,
Yes.
trustee Angelina Salaka,
Yes.
trustee David Sally,
Yes.
president David Goldberg.
No. All right, motion carries. So, who's gonna be in charge of reaching out to HRC? Do you want clerk to do this? It should be
I can do it, if you'd like.
Wait, do we
Kurt
want to do
slash-
HRC or do we want to get their price per hour before we reach out to them?
Oh, well.
We should clarify.
Hold on, let's back up a second. We can figure out, we can let our administrator figure out who to consult with. I wanna back up a degree to the $2,000 bill that we got allegedly for asking a couple questions, and I'd like to get my hands around that bill and see
I agree.
what $2,000 bought us and what
Yeah.
those answers were, to try and extrapolate from that, well, they answered a whole bunch of stuff, so we could get all of our answers for another 2,000, or do we need, in order to accomplish what they accomplished for $2,000, we would be needing $10,000 worth of answers,
Yeah,
which
before
would
we ask,
be ridiculous, and in which case we would go elsewhere.
before we ask them, we need a clarification on that charge.
And what, we would get a proposal. I would get a proposal. I mean, it doesn't cost money to get a proposal. We send them these three drawings. We say we're looking for direction on the appropriate location for striping and signage in these intersections. What would you recommend?
Why don't we have them on a retainer? Has that ever been considered?
I didn't know we didn't probably do it.
Pam said we've never had a
We've never.
contractual agreement with them.
Not with them, no. Roger liked
Because,
somebody at the other end of the phone. he didn't want to do it.
But if we take a look at what we spend with them annually
I agree.
and build
I
a
agree.
retainer-based
That's why I'm
relationship so that we
recommending
don't
going
feel like
somewhere else until we
every
take a
time
look
we
at
ask a
contracts.
question, it's gonna cost us $2,000?
I think
No.
Chief had a really good, he brought up to infrastructure that he knows other communities use various traffic, companies. And HRC isn't like the only player in town.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then let's look at that.
Not even, I don't even know if they're really traffic engineering specialists.
I think, though, President Goldberg's point is, let's figure out what that previous cost that we were charged were.
I agree.
Because I think we're all interested in that. I don't particularly need to know, but I would, and then I think there's a separate question of how do we make the decision? I think leave it to your discretion on then who we would actually use for the request.
I think we could reach out to 3 different companies to get their proposal on how much they would cost to give us an answer to our question. As referenced, the invoice, yes, I thought it was a little high. I think there was also some discussion with HRC about 13-mile project, so I think that was kind of looped in there. But it seemed like they're, in my opinion, high-priced.
But just in full disclosure too, the infrastructure committee asked Chief to have HRC update a quote that they gave us in 2022, right? So 3 years ago. And just to update the quote, they told him it would be $1,000. And the infrastructure committee said, no, thank you. So I'm just letting you know, like, we have been very, like, Chief has been making sure to pass any charges.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
infrastructure committee has been like, we don't need to update a quote. Goldberg was like, just add, 10% to that 15%, it's 3 years, like, so we're just trying not to spend, frivolous.
Agreed.
Can we talk timing on this? Because it is October, assuming that we call this out for bid and get 3 quotes. It is likely we're gonna be smack dab in the middle of the holiday season. Is this something we would project we do like springtime, or do we want it done
I
as
think
soon as
it's
possible?
probably at this point a springtime project,
Right,
regardless.
It's already approved, right? So,
Right.
are you good with that?
We can approve it, but
Yeah.
I don't think we want to do it until we get past the winter.
Yeah.
Just a thought, with Rachel coming out of the economic development background, she may have connections with other companies that she'd be more comfortable suggesting to all of you.
If she can get it done before
Let's wait for next week.
the first snow.
But again,
I don't know,
then we're
like
just putting in,
temperature, yeah, like-
yeah, we're putting on wear and tear
Right.
of an entire season
There's no
for something that
urgency to
nobody
do
will
it
get the
in
benefit of.
fourth quarter,
Yeah.
given the weather and the wear and tear.
So just as a
I know you're
council-
frustrated because you
No, no,
started
no.
this.
No, I'm asking go David Goldberg. So just as a council, should we be bidding out, like this almost, like to your point, maybe a more holistic conversation? Like, should we bid out to decide who our preferred traffic engineers are? And then if we have a couple months, right? Because then like what we go to for the study, it might be like a trial run. And then if we like that company, we may switch to them from using HRC all the time, so that way we have a possible retained traffic and engineering firm.
We talked about doing that with Meg last year, though. Like, we talked about the budget, and it was, we should renegotiate contracts, and we should go through the entire exercise of considering who does services in any category.
We did talk
So
about that.
I would think Rachel, I mean, not first order of business, but, I mean, now that we've freed up time on budget stuff and given her a bit more firepower there, that she'd have a little more breathing room to renegotiate contracts, was the thought, right?
I mean, according to Pam, we haven't looked at this issue in a while.
Which
If-
issue?
Which
This
is,
one?
we don't even have a contract with an engineering firm to quote-unquote be our consulting engineers on a regular basis. Are we just literally on a time
That's
and
where-
hour basis?
Incident, so,
And are we getting a
We
discounted
never-
rate
We never
for?
got a contract with McKenna.
no,
Not McKenna, HRC.
because we've got
Oh,
some
HRC.
guidelines on
Yeah,
spending
okay.
ceilings for the administrator.
Mhm.
We had a big project with the streetscape. We did go out to bid for that. When it's been, we've bid contracts when they've been large. We're way behind on that. Jerry Johnson, for example, is one that that the council, years ago, council used to review that and send it out for bid. we had an administrator who preferred to have a continuous relationship. And that is how he explained it to me. I objected. I think the council decision would be, do we want to hire a consulting engineer? And what would that take? We have never gone down that road. So if council wanted to do that, that's one thing.
Yeah, but also across all categories, like our,
Yeah.
our landscaping and maintenance crews, I feel like we were over a barrel with our garbage contract, right? Like we were,
Well,
no?
no.
I thought that was kind of a last
That
minute
one went up.
negotiation.
It wasn't a last minute negotiation, it's just like, yeah, exactly. The reason we were over a barrel on that one is because there's no other service provider.
Okay.
There are advantages to having a contractual relationship with an engineering company. We've never had that many big projects where it made sense, and all I wanted to do was bring it to council. I could not get that done.
I never knew that, Pam.
Yeah, oh, I didn't,
And I'm curious if we're paying, we're paying retail?
Right.
Well, I believe-
Exactly.
We're playing the government discount that goes in the other direction.
Well, yeah, normally the government discount goes in your favor because you hire a contractor, you give them volume business, and they
Yeah.
give you a break on the hourly rate. Like McKenna does. We get Chris Duzen at a ridiculous rate. Go to hire McKenna as a private contractor and get Chris Duzen to, for that rate. It's
so
just
we
not
have a
possible.
contract with McKenna. It's
100%.
performed well. We
Yeah.
negotiate the
I
contract.
never
and
knew that
review
didn't
it.
exist with HRC.
No, it
it's
never
just-
did.
Yeah, well, we have a new project for our administrator.
Yeah, So here we are. And I admire what Meg did, which is to review all of the bills that we got from HRC. She made a decision to pause them and ask for accountability.
Right.
I think that was the right
100%
thing to
true.
do. We are at the place now with our new administrator to restart that engine
Yeah.
and take a look and make the decision as a group
100%. There's
on how we want to handle that.
There are numerous municipal consulting engineers out there.
Yeah, this is a small job. We should go out and find somebody
So for
to do
this
it.
in particular, though, we can have the new administrator call 3 companies, but then we can kind of test how they are, and then maybe to Abby's point, we do a contract vendor review in January or February
Sure.
before the budget cycle starts.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but this is separate than the full scale, because
That would be how I would
Yeah.
look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're not waiting for a full.
I'm not sure you could, well, you remember that they also, there's a frost date. And that applies to asphalt. I don't know if it does with paint, but then we're into plowing and.
To me, I just think that we put down the paint in spring, because otherwise we're running shovels, salt,
Yeah, we're
all
gonna
that
put
stuff
down
over
brand new
it.
paint, and by the time we go to use it in the
Sure.
spring, it's gonna be faded.
And nobody's gonna have the benefit of using it because it's gonna be covered with snow.
And what we have
This
is
is
the
a,
benefit.
this is a
Maybe
2-day
the
project.
signs.
This might only be a 1-day
Yeah.
project,
Right.
if not a 2-day project. 1 day painting and the next day coming back with signage.
We could do the signs
And-
before.
And you definitely could if you know where they're supposed to be. And if we, the weather breaks in late March, early April. Kids aren't out of school till May, June. So the question will be, come early April, are we able
Yeah.
to put paint on the ground?
We should be ready to go.
To me, the signs are gonna do as much as the painting.
Right in time for baseball season. and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And in terms of event issues, we don't have event issues between now and spring.
Right. There's the little one on Franklin Road, the sip shop and drink.
And Frank,
Sip, shop, and drink.
you're not
That
strolling.
were your priorities. huh?
Double
Scrolling.
fisting.
All right, it's quarter to 10.
So that passed.
All right, so we've taken action on this. That is the end of our agenda. Anybody else have anything else? Otherwise, get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Seltzer, second by Sally, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So, Abby?